How dare you ruin my suit? You'll pay for this!
I assure you, I can afford your suit and this entire establishment. Now apologize.
Please, I didn't know. I beg
The
you,
satisfying
have mercy.
crack of shattering glass cut through the ballroom's murmur. Victor Blackwell's hand had struck upward with deliberate force, sending Maya Richardson's serving tray spinning. Champagne exploded across her chest. Canapes scattered like confetti at a funeral. 9 languages, his laugh was a weapon. A girl like you? 300 executives turned to stare. Not at the billionaire who had just assaulted a server. At her. The black teenager with champagne soaking through her uniform and rage burning behind her eyes. Maya's fingers trembled. Not from humiliation, from restraint. She could destroy him right now. In 9 different languages. Each one more fluent than his pathetic attempts at French. But Maya Richardson had learned long ago that the best revenge required patience. What Victor Blackwell didn't know was that in 4 hours he would be begging for her help. If you want to witness how this proud black girl brought a billionaire to his knees, subscribe to our channel and stay until the very end. Comment below with the city you're watching from. Let us see how far Maya's story travels tonight. Now let the story begin. The champagne was still dripping down Maya Richardson's neck when Victor Blackwell turned his back on her. "Where were we?" he said to his circle of investors, switching to French as if she had already ceased to exist. Ah yes, the licensing structure for the Asian markets. His French was textbook, grammatically correct, culturally ignorant. Maya understood every word. She also understood that he had just used the informal "to" with a senior Japanese executive, a mistake that would cost him dearly before the night was over. But that was his problem. Her problem was the cold liquid seeping through her white shirt, the scattered food at her feet, and the 300 pairs of eyes that had already dismissed her as unimportant. "Miss?" A voice cut through her paralysis. "Miss, are you all right?" Maya looked up. Mr. Hishimoto, the leader of the Japanese delegation, had stepped away from Blackwell's circle. His eyes held genuine concern. "I'm fine, sir," Maya replied automatically. Then before she could stop herself, she added in flawless Japanese, "Thank you for your kindness. Please don't let me interrupt your evening." Hishimoto's eyebrows rose sharply. Maya's heart stopped. She had just broken the first rule of survival: stay invisible. "You speak Japanese," Hishimoto said quietly, still in his native language. "I apologize. I shouldn't have... Your accent." He tilted his head, studying her. "It's Kansai region, Osaka dialect." "Where did you learn?" "Self-taught, sir. Audio programs and conversation partners." "Remarkable." Hishimoto glanced back at Blackwell, who was still holding court with his back turned. "Truly remarkable." "Please forget I said anything." "I don't think I can." Sandra Martinez, the catering manager, materialized at Maya's elbow like a nightmare given form. "Richardson, kitchen, now." Maya bowed slightly to Hishimoto and followed Sandra through the service entrance. The moment the doors closed behind them, Sandra exploded. "What the hell was that? He attacked me. Blackwell physically. I don't care what Blackwell did. I care what you did. You spoke Japanese to one of the most important delegates at this event. Japanese. Where did that come from?" "I speak 9 languages." Sandra stared at her like she had grown a second head. 9. "Yes." "Languages." "Yes." "And you didn't think to mention this when I hired you." "You hired me to carry trays, not to translate." Sandra pressed her fingers against her temples. "Go to the back, change your shirt. And for the love of God, don't speak to anyone else in any language until this event is over." "Yes, ma'am." Maya pushed through the kitchen doors. The chaos of clattering dishes and shouting cooks swallowed her whole. She found the staff changing area a converted storage closet with a cracked mirror and fluorescent lighting that made everyone look like corpses. She peeled off her champagne-soaked shirt and stared at her reflection. 17 years old, dark skin, hair pulled back in a regulation bun. Nothing special, nothing remarkable, just another invisible server at another rich person's party. Except she wasn't invisible. Not really. Maya pulled the Yale acceptance letter from her pocket. She had been carrying it for 3 weeks ever since it arrived, touching it whenever she needed to remember that this life was temporary. "Dear Ms. Richardson, we are pleased to inform you that you have been accepted to the Yale University Department of Linguistics." Her hands were shaking. The champagne had triggered something. Not just the physical assault, though that was bad enough. It was the casual cruelty of it. The absolute certainty in Blackwell's eyes that she was nothing. That she would always be nothing. That girls who looked like her didn't matter in rooms like this. Her phone buzzed. A text from her father. "How's my superstar doing?" Maya typed back, "Fine, Dad." "Busy night." His response came instantly. "Remember what I always say. Richardson women don't back down." Richardson women rise up. She smiled despite everything. James Richardson, jazz saxophonist, double shift worker, eternal optimist. He had been sending her variations of that message for 17 years. Another text followed. Your mama says she loves you and to remember your posture. That was pure Amara Richardson, former linguistics professor at the University of Nairobi, current adjunct at City College, forever obsessed with posture. Maya straightened her spine automatically. She put on a fresh shirt, stuffed the letter back in her pocket, and returned to the kitchen. Marcus Chen was waiting for her by the coffee station. You okay? I'll survive. That was brutal. Everyone's talking about what Blackwell did. They're talking about what I said, Marcus, not what he did. Fair point. He handed her a fresh tray. But here's the thing. You might have actually done us all a favor. How is getting assaulted and humiliated a favor? Marcus leaned closer, lowering his voice. The translation service canceled. Frankfurt flight got grounded. No one's coming. Blackwell's team is in full panic mode. Maya's pulse quickened. When did this happen? 20 minutes ago. They've been making calls non-stop. Harvard, Columbia, NYU, everyone's either unavailable or can't handle 9 languages at once. That's not my problem. Maybe it should be. Marcus, just hear me out. He glanced around to make sure they weren't being overheard. My cousin works for Blackwell Global. If this deal falls apart tonight, they're laying off 200 people, her included. Single mom, 2 kids, mortgage she can't afford. I'm sorry for your cousin, but I'm not a professional translator. I'm a 17-year-old server who just got champagne thrown in her face. You're a 17-year-old server who speaks 9 languages fluently. That makes you the most qualified person in this building. Blackwell accused me of being a corporate spy. Blackwell accuses everyone of everything. Last month he accused his CFO of embezzlement because the man sneezed during a presentation. Maya almost laughed. Almost. Even if I wanted to help, which I don't, they would never accept it. You saw how he looked at me. I'm nobody to these people. You were nobody. Now you're the girl who speaks Japanese better than anyone on his payroll. Hishimoto hasn't stopped talking about you since you left. How do you know that? Because I've been refilling his water glass for the past 15 minutes. He keeps asking his assistant who you are and where you learned Japanese. Maya's heart hammered against her ribs. That doesn't mean anything. It means everything. Marcus grabbed her arm. Maya, listen to me. I've been working events like this for 3 years. I've seen a lot of people get knocked down. Most of them stay down. But you have something they don't. You have a way out of this. You have a way to turn the worst night of your life into something incredible. Or a way to make it even worse? Maybe, but isn't that better than hiding in the kitchen while your future walks out the door? The service door swung open. Sandra appeared, her face tight with stress. Richardson, back to the floor. Stay away from Blackwell and keep your mouth shut. Yes, ma'am. Sandra disappeared back into the chaos. Marcus caught Maya's eye. Think about it. Maya grabbed her tray and pushed through the doors. The ballroom had transformed in her absence. The formal dinner was ending. Wait staff cleared plates while technicians set up presentation equipment. The delegates had clustered into national groups speaking rapidly in their own languages. Maya moved through the room like a ghost, invisible again exactly as she was supposed to be. But now she was listening differently. Near the window, the German investors spoke in hushed, urgent tones. Blackwell's approach is too aggressive. He treats us like we should be grateful for the opportunity. The licensing terms are unacceptable. We need flexibility he's not offering. If this doesn't improve significantly, I'm recommending withdrawal. Maya refilled their water glasses and moved on. By the bar, the Brazilian delegation argued among themselves. The timeline is unrealistic. 6 months for full implementation, impossible. And the pricing model doesn't account for currency fluctuations. We should have done this deal with Samsung. Maya collected empty glasses and kept walking. In the corner, the Saudi representatives conferred with their technical advisors. The data sovereignty requirements are non-negotiable. Our government will never approve foreign server access. Have they addressed encryption standards? I saw nothing in the documentation. Because there is nothing. They're hiding something. Maya's tray was full. She returned to the service station to unload her mind racing. Every delegation had concerns. Serious concerns. Concerns that Blackwell's team apparently knew nothing about because they couldn't understand what was being said. This deal wasn't just in trouble, it was on the verge of collapse. Richardson, Sandra appeared again. Take coffee to the Japanese table, and I mean it, don't say a word.
저 때문에
Maya loaded a fresh tray with coffee service and approached Hishimoto's delegation. They were speaking freely, assuming no one could understand. The API documentation contains significant errors. Either their team is incompetent or they're deliberately misleading us. I noticed the same issues. The licensing terms in the Japanese version don't match what Blackwell described. Should we raise this directly? With what translator their service canceled, we'd be speaking to a wall. Maya set down the coffee cups with careful precision. Hishimoto looked up at her. "You again," he said in Japanese, the girl with the Osaka accent. "I apologize for the intrusion, sir." "Don't apologize. Tell me something instead." Maya's hands froze on the coffee pot. "Tell me," Hishimoto continued, "why a young woman who speaks Japanese this beautifully is serving coffee instead of running companies." "I'm still in high school, sir." "High school." He shook his head slowly. "What other languages do you speak?" "8 more." The table went silent. "8 more," Hishimoto repeated. "Yes, sir. Mandarin, German, French, Portuguese, Spanish, Arabic, Russian, and Swahili, in addition to Japanese and English." The executives exchanged glances. "Impossible," one of them muttered. "With respect, sir, it's not impossible. It's just rare." Hishimoto studied her for a long moment. "What is your name?" "Maya Richardson." "Maya Richardson." He pronounced it carefully, giving each syllable its proper weight. "I believe we will be hearing that name again." Maya bowed and retreated, her heart pounding so loud she was certain everyone could hear it. She made it back to the service station before her legs gave out. Marcus caught her arm. "What happened?" "I did it again. I spoke Japanese to Hishimoto." "On purpose." "He asked me a direct question. What was I supposed to do, pretend I didn't understand?" "Yes, that's exactly what you were supposed to do." "Well, I didn't." Maya leaned against the wall, trying to catch her breath. "He knows now. He knows I speak 9 languages." "Good. Good. How is this good? Sandra's going to fire me. Blackwell's going to have me arrested. Or," Marcus's eyes were bright with excitement, "or Hishimoto is going to demand that you translate, and Blackwell won't be able to say no." "That's insane. Is it Hishimoto is the key to this entire deal? If he walks, everyone walks. Japan is the anchor. Blackwell knows that. Everyone knows that. He'll never agree to let me..." The service door burst open. Sandra stormed through, her face white as paper. "Richardson, conference room, now." Maya's stomach dropped. "Am I fired?" "I don't know, but Victor Blackwell wants to speak with you personally." Marcus and Maya exchanged looks. "Go," Marcus whispered. "And remember, Richardson, women don't back down." Still, Maya followed Sandra through a maze of service corridors until they reached a small conference room. Through the glass doors, she could see Blackwell pacing like a caged animal. 2 security guards stood in the corners. A woman in a business suit sat at the table laptop, open fingers flying across the keyboard. Sandra knocked once and opened the door. "Miss Richardson, sir." Blackwell spun around. His eyes locked onto Maya with an intensity that made her want to run. "Leave us, Dieu," he said to Sandra. "Sir, our company policy requires..." "I said leave us." Sandra hesitated, then nodded and closed the door behind her. Maya stood alone in the room with the man who had publicly humiliated her less than an hour ago. "Sit down," Blackwell ordered. Maya didn't move. "I said sit down." "I'll stand, thank you." Something flickered across Blackwell's face. Surprise, maybe? Or irritation? Or both? "Fine, stand." He resumed his pacing. "I'm going to ask you some questions. You're going to answer honestly. If I think you're lying even once, this conversation is over, and your life becomes very difficult. Do you understand?" "Yes." "Who do you work for?" "Meridian Catering Services." "Don't play games with me. Who sent you here tonight?" "No one sent me. I applied for a job. This was the assignment I was given." Blackwell stopped pacing. "You expect me to believe that a teenage girl who speaks 9 languages supposedly just happened to end up serving champagne at my most important negotiation of the year?" "I don't expect you to believe anything, Mr. Blackwell. I'm telling you the truth. What you do with it is your choice." "Where did you learn Japanese?" "Self-taught initially, then conversation exchange programs, then advanced coursework at the Japan Society." "And Mandarin?" "Same approach, plus summer intensive programs." "German, French, Arabic?" "My mother is a linguistics professor. Languages are what we do in my family." Blackwell's eyes narrowed. "What's your mother's name?" "Dr. Amara Richardson. She teaches at City College." Before that, she was at the University of Nairobi. The woman at the laptop typed rapidly, then looked up. She checks out, sir. Dr. Amara Richardson, born in Kenya, PhD from the University of Edinburgh, published extensively on comparative linguistics. Currently employed by CUNY. And the father, James Richardson, jazz musician, currently employed at the Blue Note. More typing. Also checks out. No criminal record, no corporate affiliations, no unusual financial activity. Blackwell turned back to Maya. So you're exactly what you claim to be, a high school student with an unusual talent for languages. Yes. Where have you been accepted to college? Yale. Linguistics program. Full scholarship. 75%. I'm working to cover the rest. Blackwell studied her. The hostility in his eyes, tides, hadn't disappeared, but something else was emerging alongside it. Calculation, assessment. How many languages can you actually speak fluently? Not tourist phrases, real fluency, business-level communication. 9, all 9 that I mentioned. Prove it. I already proved it to Mr. Hishimoto. Prove it to me. Maya's jaw tightened. With respect, Mr. Blackwell, you don't speak any of those languages well enough to evaluate my fluency. You'd have to take my word for it, and we've already established that you don't believe anything I say. Silence. The woman at the laptop stopped typing. The security guards shifted uncomfortably. Blackwell's face flushed red. You have no idea who you're talking to. I know exactly who I'm talking to. You're Victor Blackwell, founder and CEO of Blackwell Global Technologies, net worth $11 billion. Known for hostile takeovers, aggressive negotiation tactics, and a complete inability to admit when you're wrong. How dare you? You threw champagne on me tonight, in front of 300 people. You called me a liar. You accused me of being a spy. You tried to humiliate me because I made you feel small for 30 seconds. Maya's voice was steady, but her hands were trembling. And now you're standing here asking me to prove myself to you as if I'm the one who has something to apologize for. Blackwell stared at her. The room was absolutely silent. Maya waited for the explosion, the screaming, the threats, the end of everything she had worked for. Instead, Victor Blackwell laughed. It wasn't the cruel laugh from the ballroom. It was something else. Something almost approaching respect. You've got guts, Richardson. I'll give you that. I don't need you to give me anything. Maybe not, but I might need something from you. Maya's heart skipped. The translation service canceled, Blackwell continued. You probably already know that. What you might not know is that every backup option has failed. We have 9 delegations, 9 languages, and nobody who can communicate effectively with all of them. That sounds like your problem. It was my problem. Now it might be your opportunity. Maya didn't respond. I need a translator. Tonight. Someone who can handle Japanese, Mandarin, German, French, Portuguese, Spanish, Arabic, Russian, and Swahili. Someone who understands business terminology and cultural nuances. Someone who can perform under pressure. You need a miracle. I need you. The words hung in the air. Maya had imagined this moment. In her fantasies, it was triumphant. The powerful man brought low begging for her help, forced to acknowledge her worth. In reality, it felt different, complicated, dangerous. 3 hours ago, you called me a liar and a spy. Now, you want to trust me with a $9 billion deal? I don't trust you, I don't trust anyone, but I'm out of options, and you're the only person in this building who might be able to save this negotiation. And if I refuse, Blackwell's expression hardened, then you walk out of here with nothing. You go back to serving champagne and pretending you're invisible. You spend the next year working 3 jobs to cover your tuition gap, and you tell yourself it was worth it because at least you kept your pride. That's emotional manipulation. It's the truth. He stepped closer. You have a gift, Richardson, an extraordinary gift. You can use it tonight to change your entire future, or you can hide from it because a rich man hurt your feelings. Maya's throat tightened. She thought about her father playing saxophone until his fingers bled. She thought about her mother leaving a prestigious career for love and never complaining about what she'd sacrificed. She thought about the Yale letter in her pocket, the $15,000 gap, the $60,000 total. She thought about every time someone had looked at her and seen nothing, every time she had swallowed her words because speaking up wasn't worth the cost, every time she had chosen safety over truth. What exactly are you offering? She asked. Full compensation for tonight, double the standard rate for professional translators. That's not enough. Blackwell's eyebrows rose. You're negotiating with me. You need me more than I need you. That changes the power dynamic." For a long moment, Blackwell said nothing. Then slowly a smile spread across his face. "What do you want?" "If I do this, if I save your deal, you make a public statement apologizing for how you treated me tonight, and you make a donation to the scholarship fund at my high school. $50,000. $50,000? You're about to make $9 billion. $50,000 is a rounding error." Blackwell laughed again, that strange, almost respectful laugh. "You're something else, Richardson. You know that... Do we have a deal?" He extended his hand. Maya looked at it, the same hand that had knocked the tray from her grip, the same hand that had left her standing in a puddle of champagne and shattered glass. She took it. His grip was firm. Hers was firmer. "We have a deal," Blackwell said. "Now let's see if you can actually deliver." He opened the conference room door. The ballroom was in chaos. The Japanese delegation had gathered their materials. The Germans were on their phones rebooking flights. The Chinese contingent was in heated discussion with the Brazilians. The Russians looked ready to walk out at any moment. $9 billion evaporating in real time. Blackwell strode toward the center of the room and Maya followed. Every eye turned to watch them. "Ladies and gentlemen," Blackwell announced, his voice cutting through the noise, "I apologize for the delay. We experienced an unexpected translation issue that has now been resolved." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. "May I introduce Maya Richardson? She will be serving as our translator for the remainder of the evening." The murmurs became whispers. The whispers became stares. A teenage black girl in a catering uniform standing next to one of the most powerful men in the world, about to translate a $9 billion deal. Hishimoto stepped forward. "Miss Richardson and I have already met," he said in English. Then he switched to Japanese. "I am pleased to see you again. I had hoped our conversation would continue." Maya responded in flawless Japanese. "The honor is mine, Hishimoto-san. I am grateful for the opportunity to facilitate clear communication this evening." The Japanese delegation relaxed visibly. Mr. Chen, the Chinese representative, approached next. He fired a rapid question in Mandarin, something about data sovereignty protocols and encryption standards. Maya answered without hesitation, using precise technical terminology that made Chen's eyes widen. "Impressive," he said in English. "Very impressive." The German delegation leader tested her next. Complex questions about licensing structures and regulatory compliance delivered in formal business German. Maya handled each one. Then the French, the Spanish, the Brazilians. Each delegation threw their hardest questions at her. Technical specifications, legal terminology, cultural nuances that tripped up professional translators. Maya caught every single one. By the time she reached the Russian contingent, the room had gone completely silent. Everyone was watching. The Saudi representative stepped forward last. He spoke in Arabic, not the formal modern standard Arabic that most Westerners learned, but the Gulf dialect specific to his region. It was a test within a test. Maya responded in kind, adjusting her pronunciation and vocabulary to match his regional patterns. The Saudi executive's face broke into a genuine smile. "Remarkable," he said. "Simply remarkable." Blackwell watched all of this with an expression Maya couldn't read. When the demonstrations were complete, Hishimoto turned to address the room. "I believe Miss Richardson has proven her qualifications. I propose we continue with the presentation as planned." Nods of agreement from every delegation. Blackwell gestured toward the presentation area. "Miss Richardson, if you would take your position." Maya walked to the center of the room. Her heart was pounding. Her palms were slick with sweat. Every instinct screamed at her to run, to hide, to retreat to the kitchen, where it was safe and invisible and small. But Richardson women don't back down. Richardson women rise up. She turned to face the assembled delegates. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, and her voice didn't waver, "let us begin." The next 3 hours were the most intense of Maya's life. Blackwell launched into his presentation, speaking rapidly, using complex technical terminology, throwing in industry jargon that would have stumped most professional interpreters. Maya caught everything. She translated his words into Japanese for the Hishimoto delegation, adjusting not just the language, but the communication style, more formal, more deferential, more focused on long-term relationship building than short-term gains. She shifted to Mandarin for the Chinese team, emphasizing data security and regulatory compliance, knowing those were their primary concerns. For the Germans, she adopted a more direct approach, focusing on precision and technical accuracy. Each language required a different strategy. Each culture demanded a different approach. Maya navigated between them like a concert pianist moving across the keys, effortless, intuitive, precise. But it wasn't enough to just translate. She had to listen. and what she heard worried her. The Japanese delegation was confused about licensing terms. The Chinese team had serious concerns about server location requirements. The Germans didn't trust Blackwell's timeline projections. None of this was being communicated to Blackwell's team, because none of them could understand what was being said. During a brief break for coffee service, Maya approached Blackwell. "We have a problem." "What kind of problem?" "The Japanese delegation thinks your licensing terms prohibit customization. The Chinese team believes your data storage violates their sovereignty requirements, and the Germans are about to walk out because they don't trust your implementation timeline." Blackwell's face went pale. "How do you know this?" "Because I've been listening. They've been discussing their concerns among themselves, assuming no one understands." "And you didn't tell me sooner." "I've been busy translating your presentation, but if you don't address these issues in the next 30 minutes, you're going to lose at least 3 delegations. Blackwell stared at her. "You're serious?" "I don't joke about $9 billion. He was silent for a long moment, then he nodded. "What do we need to do?" Maya told him. The licensing confusion stemmed from a translation error in the Japanese documentation. The word fixed had been used instead of flexible, a single word that changed the entire meaning of the architecture description. The Chinese sovereignty concerns were based on outdated information. Blackwell Global had actually updated their infrastructure 6 months ago to support regional data storage, but the change hadn't been communicated to the international teams. The German timeline doubts could be addressed by providing case studies from similar implementations in other European markets. "How do you know all this?" Blackwell demanded. "I did my research. Your company's developer documentation is publicly available. I studied it while preparing for a business language certification exam." "You studied my company's technical documentation for fun." "I studied it because that's what real fluency requires. Understanding the content, not just the words." Blackwell shook his head slowly. "You're not like anyone I've ever met, Richardson." "I'm exactly like a lot of people you've never bothered to notice." Before he could respond, Maya walked back to her position and signaled for the presentation to resume. The next section would determine everything. Blackwell stood at the podium, visibly nervous for the first time all evening. "Ladies and gentlemen, before we continue, I'd like to address some concerns that have been raised by various delegations." Maya translated this into each language, then continued translating as Blackwell worked through each issue. The licensing clarification for the Japanese team, the data sovereignty update for the Chinese delegation, the implementation case studies for the Germans. Each explanation was met with nods and murmured approval. But it was what happened next that changed everything. The Chinese delegation leader, Mr. Chen, raised his hand. "Mr. Blackwell, I appreciate the clarification regarding data storage. However, I have a follow-up question about encryption protocols that I would prefer to ask in my native language. Would Miss Richardson be able to translate?" "Of course." Chen turned to Maya and spoke in rapid Mandarin. "Young lady, I want to know if this man can be trusted, not his technology, him, his character. You've seen how he operates tonight. You've been on the receiving end of his treatment. Tell me honestly, should we do business with someone like this?" Maya's blood ran cold. Every delegate was watching. Blackwell was watching. The entire future of the deal hinged on her response. If she told the truth about how Blackwell had treated her, the deal would collapse. The Chinese wouldn't partner with someone they considered dishonorable. If she lied and covered for him, she would be protecting the man who had humiliated her publicly. Neither option was acceptable, so she found a third way. "Mr. Chen, Han," she responded in Mandarin, "I believe that people reveal their true character not in their best moments, but in how they respond to their worst moments. Mr. Blackwell made a mistake tonight. He is also making an effort to correct it. Whether that effort is genuine, only time will tell. But I can tell you this, his technology is sound, his terms are fair, and his company has the capability to deliver what he promises. The rest is a judgment you will have to make for yourself." Chen studied her for a long moment, then he smiled. "A diplomatic answer. You have a future in international relations, Miss Richardson." "Thank you, sir. Please tell Mr. Blackwell that the Chinese delegation is prepared to proceed." Maya turned to Blackwell and translated Chen's response. She did not translate the question that had preceded it. Some things were better left unsaid. The presentation continued. As midnight approached, the final contracts were prepared for signature. Maya had translated over 300 pages of technical specifications, legal terminology, and business communications across 9 languages. Her voice was hoarse. Her body was exhausted. but her mind was sharper than it had ever been. One by one, the delegation leaders approached the signing table. Hishimoto first, his signature elegant and precise. Then Chen, his pen strokes bold and confident. Schmidt from Germany. Dubois from France. Santos from Brazil. Al-Rashid from Saudi Arabia. Volkov from Russia. Fernandez from Spain. Okonkwo from Kenya. 9 signatures. 9 countries. $9 billion. When the last signature was complete, the room erupted in applause. Blackwell stood at the center, shaking hands, accepting congratulations, basking in the triumph. But Maya noticed something. Every single delegate made a point of coming to her first. Hishimoto bowed deeply and pressed his business card into her hands. "When you complete your education, Miss Richardson, I expect to hear from you." Chen shook her hand with both of his. "You have the mind of a diplomat and the courage of a warrior. My country could use someone like you." Al-Rashid spoke to her in Arabic, his voice warm with admiration. "In my culture, we say that God gives special gifts to special people. Use yours wisely, young lady." One by one, they offered praise, business cards, invitations, opportunities. The teenage caterer, who had been invisible 3 hours ago, was now the most sought-after person in the room. Finally, when the crowd had thinned and the delegates had departed, Blackwell approached. He looked different now. Older. Smaller. Less like a titan of industry, and more like a man confronting something he didn't understand. "Miss Richardson, a word." Maya followed him to a quiet corner of the ballroom. For a long moment he didn't speak. Then quietly, "I owe you an apology." "Yes, you do. What I did earlier tonight, how I treated you, it was inexcusable." "Also, yes. I made assumptions based on factors that had nothing to do with your abilities, your age, your job, my race." Blackwell flinched. "Yes," he admitted, "your race. Thank you for saying it out loud. I've been wrong about people before, but never this wrong. Never this publicly wrong." He paused. "You saved my company tonight. You saved $9 billion and 200 jobs and my entire legacy, and 3 hours ago I threw champagne on you and called you a liar." "I remember. I don't know how to make that right." "You can start by keeping your promise. The public apology, the scholarship donation." "I'll do both. Tomorrow, first thing." "Good." Blackwell hesitated. "There's something else, something I'd like to offer you beyond what we agreed." Maya waited. "My company has an educational support program, full tuition coverage, living expenses, guaranteed internship placements. I'd like to offer you a position in our international relations division upon graduation, full benefits, starting salary in the mid-6 figures, a career path that could take you anywhere in the world." Maya's breath caught. Mid-6 figures. A guaranteed career. All of her financial worries solved with a single word. "That's a generous offer." "It's a selfish offer. You're the most talented person I've encountered in 40 years of business. I'd be a fool not to try to recruit you." "Can I think about it?" "Take all the time you need." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a card. "My personal number. When you've decided, call me." Maya took the card. It was heavy in her hand. Heavy with possibility. "Mr. Blackwell, can I ask you something?" "Anything. Earlier tonight, when you made your assumptions about me, what made you so certain you were right?" He was silent for a long time. "Because I've spent my whole life believing I could see people clearly, that I could look at someone and know their potential, their limits, their worth. And now I realize I've been blind. To you, to probably hundreds of others just like you." His voice dropped. "I'm 62 years old, Miss Richardson. I've built an empire. I've made billions. And tonight, a 17-year-old girl showed me that everything I thought I knew about recognizing talent was wrong." "What are you going to do about it?" He met her eyes. "I don't know yet, but something has to change." Maya nodded slowly. "That's a good start." She turned and walked away, leaving Victor Blackwell standing alone in his empty ballroom. Marcus was waiting by the service entrance. "So?" he asked. "How does it feel to be a hero?" Maya laughed. It was the first genuine laugh she'd managed all night. "It feels exhausting, and terrifying, and incredible, all at once." "What happens now?" She looked at the business cards in her hand. Hishimoto, Chen, Al-Rashid, Blackwell. "I don't know," she admitted, "but I think my life just changed." Her phone buzzed, a text from her father. "Still up, your mama made that tea you like." Maya typed back, "On my way home. I have a story to tell you." His response was instant. "Can't wait to hear it, superstar." Maya Richardson pushed through the service door and stepped into the cold New York night. Above her, the city lights blazed against the darkness. Below her, the concrete was solid beneath her feet, and ahead of her, a future she had barely dared to imagine was waiting to unfold. She pulled the Yale letter from her pocket one last time. The financial aid section. The $15,000 gap. The $60,000 total. It didn't seem so impossible anymore. Nothing seemed impossible anymore. Maya tucked the letter away, straightened her spine the way her mother had taught her, and started walking home. She had a long way to go, but Richardson women don't back down. Richardson women rise up, and Maya Richardson was just getting started. The subway car was nearly empty at 2:15 in the morning. Maya sat in the corner seat, her body aching, her mind racing. The business cards in her pocket felt like they weighed 100 pounds. Hishimoto, Chen, Al-Rashid, Blackwell. 4 hours ago, she had been invisible. Now she had the personal phone numbers of some of the most powerful people in the world. Her phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. "You were incredible tonight. The whole staff is talking about you. Sandra doesn't know whether to fire you or promote you." Maya smiled and typed back. "Tell her I'll accept either one at this point. I'm too tired to care." His response came immediately. "Get some sleep. You earned it. But Maya, what you did tonight, that's going to change everything." She hoped he was right. The train pulled into her station at 2:43. Maya climbed the stairs to street level, her legs protesting every step. The Brooklyn night was cold and quiet. Brownstones lined the street like sleeping giants. Somewhere in the distance, a car alarm wailed and went silent. Home was 3 blocks away. She made it in 4 minutes. The light in the kitchen window told her what she already knew. Her parents were waiting. Maya pushed open the front door, and the smell of ginger tea wrapped around her like a hug. "Baby girl," her father's voice came from the kitchen. "Get in here." James Richardson was sitting at the table with a cup of tea and worried eyes. Amara Richardson stood at the stove adding honey to a steaming pot. "Sit," her mother commanded. "You look like death." "Thanks, Mom. Love you too." Maya collapsed into the chair across from her father. Every muscle in her body screamed for sleep, but sleep would have to wait. "Your text said something happened," James said. "Something big." "Yeah." Maya accepted the cup of tea her mother pressed into her hands. "Something big." And she told them everything. The champagne. The humiliation. The accusation of espionage. The decision to step forward. The 3 hours of translation. The $9 billion deal. The business cards. The job offer. When she finished, the kitchen was silent. Her father's tea had gone cold untouched. Her mother had stopped moving entirely. "Say something," Maya whispered. James Richardson looked at his daughter, really looked at her, and then his face cracked into the biggest smile she had ever seen. "That's my girl." He was around the table before Maya could react, pulling her into a hug that lifted her off the chair. "That's my girl," he repeated, his voice thick. "I knew it. I always knew you were going to do something incredible." James let her breathe. Amara's voice was firm, but her eyes were wet. "Maya, look at me." Maya looked. Her mother's expression was complicated. Pride, yes, but also something else. Something that looked like fear. "This man Blackwell, he offered you a job." "Yes." "And money for your education." "Yes." "And he expects what in return?" Maya hesitated. "I don't know yet. He said to call him when I've decided." Amara nodded slowly. "Men like Victor Blackwell don't give gifts, Maya. They make investments. And investments require returns." "Mom, I'm not saying no. I'm saying be careful." Amara took her daughter's hands. "You walked into that ballroom tonight as a server. You walked out as a threat. People like Blackwell don't forget that. They either neutralize threats or they acquire them. So what do I do as... You sleep." Amara pulled her to her feet. "You rest. And tomorrow we figure this out together. As a family." Maya hugged her mother tight. "Thank you," she whispered, "for teaching me the languages, for believing I could do something with them." Amara's arms tightened around her. "I never had any doubts, my love. Not for a single moment." Maya made it to her bedroom at 3:22. She didn't bother changing out of her stained uniform. She just collapsed onto the bed and was asleep before her head hit the pillow. Her dreams were chaos. Champagne and contracts. Blackwell's cold eyes. Hishimoto's warm smile. 9 languages swirling together until they became one. The alarm shattered everything at 7:15. Maya groaned and reached for her phone to silence it. 47 notifications. She sat up suddenly wide awake. 31 text messages, 9 missed calls, 7 social media notifications. What the hell? The first text was from Marcus. Maya, have you seen the news? The second was from her friend Destiny. Girl, you're famous. Call me. The third was from an unknown number. Miss Richardson, this is Patricia Huang from CNN. We'd like to discuss your remarkable story from last night. Please contact me at your earliest convenience. Maya's blood went cold. She opened Twitter with trembling fingers. The hashtag hit her like a truck. Hashtag 9 language. Maya was trending, number 3 in the United States, number 7 worldwide. Someone at the event had recorded her. Multiple someones. Videos of her speaking Japanese to Hashimoto. Videos of her translating for the Chinese delegation. Videos of her answering questions in Arabic, Russian, German, French. The clips had gone viral overnight. One video had 14 million views. Maya watched herself on the small screen, standing in the center of that ballroom, switching between languages like it was nothing. The comments were overwhelming. This girl is incredible. How is this even possible? She's only 17. I can barely speak English. Black excellence on full display. Queens don't need crowns. But not all the comments were positive. There's no way this is real. She's obviously lip-syncing to recordings. Another fake viral video for attention. I bet she memorized a few phrases and they're making it seem like more. Typical diversity hire getting praised for minimum effort. Maya's stomach turned. Maya? Her mother's voice came from downstairs. Come here. Now. The tone left no room for argument. Maya descended the stairs to find her parents huddled around the living room television. The morning news was playing, and her face was on the screen. 17-year-old Maya Richardson, a high school senior from Brooklyn who sources say single-handedly saved a $9 billion international business deal last night when professional translators failed to arrive. Richardson reportedly speaks 9 languages fluently and impressed delegates from Japan, China, Germany, and 6 other countries with her linguistic abilities. We're joined now by Dr. Linda Chu, professor of linguistics at Columbia University. Dr. Chu, is it even possible for a teenager to achieve this level of fluency in 9 different languages? Maya couldn't breathe. Mom, Dad, what do I do? Her father muted the television. First you sit down, then you tell us who has your phone number. What do you mean? I mean CNN just called our house phone asking for where were you. The New York Times left a message. Good Morning America wants you for tomorrow's show. Maya's knees buckled. Her father caught her and guided her to the couch. This is insane, she whispered. I just wanted to pay for college. I know, baby. James sat beside her. But what you did last night wasn't small. You stepped up in front of some of the most powerful people in the world, and you dominated. That kind of thing doesn't stay quiet. The school is going to find out. The school already knows. Amara held up her phone. Principal Watkins called at 6:45. She wants to meet with you on Monday. Am I in trouble? I don't think so. She sounded impressed. Impressed. Maya laughed, but there was no humor in it. Yesterday I was just Maya Richardson, weird language girl. Now I'm... What? A viral sensation. You're still Maya Richardson. Her mother knelt in front of her. You're still my daughter. Nothing that happens out there changes who you are in here. Maya's phone rang. Unknown number. She let it go to voicemail. It rang again immediately. Same number. Answer it, her father said. Better to face it head on. Maya took a deep breath and accepted the call. Hello? Miss Richardson, Victor Blackwell. Her heart stopped. Mr. Blackwell, good morning? Is it, I've been fielding calls from media outlets since 6 a.m. Apparently someone at my event decided to turn you into an internet celebrity. I saw. I didn't ask for this. I know you didn't. That's why I'm calling. His voice was different than last night. Tighter, more controlled. We need to meet. Today. There are developments you need to be aware of. What kind of developments? Not over the phone. My office. 2 o'clock. I'll send a car. Mr. Blackwell, I don't think... Miss Richardson, what I'm about to tell you affects your future significantly. I strongly suggest you make time. The line went dead. Maya stared at her phone. What did he want? Her mother asked. He wants to meet. Today at 2. He says there are developments. What does that mean? I don't know. Maya looked at her parents. But I think I need to find out. At 1:47, a black town car pulled up in front of Maya's brownstone. Her parents had insisted on accompanying her, but Maya refused. Whatever was coming, she needed to face it on her own terms. If she walked into Blackwell's office with her parents, she would look like a child. and children didn't negotiate $9 billion deals. The driver opened her door without a word. The ride to Manhattan took 34 minutes. Maya spent them trying to calm her racing heart and failing. Blackwell Global Technologies occupied the top 12 floors of a glass tower in Midtown. The lobby was all marble and steel designed to intimidate. It worked. Miss Richardson, a young woman in a sharp suit approached. I'm Victoria Chen, Mr. Blackwell's executive assistant. He's expecting you. They took a private elevator to the 47th floor. The doors opened onto chaos. Phones were ringing constantly. Staff members rushed between desks with papers and tablets. Someone was shouting in Mandarin in a glass-walled conference room. Someone else was crying at their desk. Victoria led Maya through the storm without comment. Blackwell's office was at the end of the hall. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked all of Manhattan. The desk was massive, carved from a single piece of dark wood. The man behind it looked like he hadn't slept. Miss Richardson, sit. Maya sat. Victoria disappeared, closing the door behind her. Do you know what happened at 7 o'clock this morning? Blackwell asked. I woke up to 47 notifications on my phone. That's not what I mean. He slid a tablet across the desk. Read? It was an article from the Financial Times. Blackwell deal in jeopardy as Chinese delegation demands contract review. Maya's stomach dropped. I don't understand. They signed last night. They signed a preliminary agreement, not a final contract. There's a 72-hour review period during which any party can withdraw without penalty. Why would they withdraw? I thought everything was resolved. It was, until you became famous. Maya looked up sharply. Blackwell's expression was grim. The Chinese government is concerned. A 17-year-old American girl who speaks fluent Mandarin, who had access to every conversation at a high-level international negotiation, who appeared out of nowhere and suddenly understands every word being said by every delegation. I was helping. You were gathering intelligence. At least that's what their security services believe. That's insane. I'm a high school student. You're a high school student who speaks 9 languages and memorized my company's technical documentation for fun. That's not normal, Miss Richardson. That's the profile of a trained intelligence asset. Maya's blood ran cold. You think I'm a spy? I don't think you're a spy. But the Chinese delegation does, and apparently they're not alone. He slid another tablet across the desk. This one showed a news article in Japanese. Maya translated the headline instantly. Security concerns raised over American translator at Blackwell Summit. The Japanese are worried too. The Japanese, the Russians, even the Saudis are asking questions. Blackwell leaned forward. You saved my deal last night, Miss Richardson. Now your fame might destroy it. Maya couldn't speak. Everything she had worked for. Everything she had accomplished. It was all crumbling because someone had posted a video online. What do you want me to do? I want you to disappear. The word hit her like a slap. Excuse me. I want you to go quiet. No interviews, no social media, no public statements of any kind. I want you to become invisible again until this blows over. And if I don't, Blackwell's eyes hardened, then I can't protect you, and neither can anyone else. Protect me from what? From people who take international security very seriously, people who don't believe in coincidences, people who will dig into your life, your family's life, your friends' lives, looking for any connection to any intelligence agency anywhere in the world. Maya thought about her mother, who had emigrated from Kenya, her father, who had traveled internationally for jazz performances, the hours she spent online chatting with language exchange partners from a dozen different countries. They won't find anything. They'll find enough to make your life very difficult. Even if you're completely innocent, the investigation alone will derail your future. Yale won't touch you with a pending security inquiry. Neither will any other reputable institution. The room was spinning. You're threatening me. I'm warning you. There's a difference. Maya stood up so fast her chair tipped backward. I came into your ballroom last night because you couldn't do your job. I saved your deal, Fiorit, because your team failed. I spoke 9 languages for 3 hours straight because no one else could. And now you want me to disappear because my existence is inconvenient. I want you to survive. Can't you see that all I see is a powerful man who got what he wanted and now wants to throw away the person who gave it to him? Blackwell stood too. You think this is what I want? You think I called you here to threaten a 17-year-old girl? I called you here because there are forces moving that neither of us can control. Because your face is everywhere, and people are asking questions I can't answer. Because the same talent that saved my deal is now the reason it might fall apart. Then let it fall apart. Excuse me. Let it fall apart. Maya's voice was steady despite the rage burning through her. I didn't ask for this. I didn't post those videos. I didn't call the media. I did what you asked me to do, and I did it better than anyone you could have hired. If the Chinese government wants to believe I'm a spy because a black girl from Brooklyn speaks Mandarin too well, that's their problem, not mine. Blackwell stared at her. You'd really walk away from everything, the job offer, the educational support, your future. I'd walk away from anyone who asks me to be invisible. I spent 17 years being invisible, Mr. Blackwell. I'm done. She turned toward the door. Miss Richardson. Maya stopped but didn't turn around. There's another option. I'm listening. Face them directly. The Chinese delegation is still in the city. They fly out tomorrow morning. If you could speak with them personally, address their concerns, prove that you're exactly who you claim to be. You want me to submit to an interrogation. I want you to have a conversation, on your terms, in Mandarin, one-on-one with Mr. Chen. Maya turned slowly. Why would he agree to that? Because I already asked him. He's curious about you. He was impressed last night despite the security concerns. He wants to understand how someone your age achieved what you've achieved. And if I convince him, then the deal proceeds, the investigations stop, and you become a very valuable asset instead of a very dangerous liability. Asset to whom? Blackwell smiled thinly. That depends entirely on you. Maya considered her options. Walk away and watch her future burn, or walk forward and face an interrogation by one of the most powerful men in Chinese business. Neither choice was good, but one choice let her control the narrative. When and where? Tonight, 6 o'clock, the Peninsula Hotel. I'll send the address. I'll be there. Miss Richardson. Blackwell's voice caught her at the door. Whatever happens tonight, I want you to know something. What you did in my ballroom was extraordinary. I've worked with professional translators for decades. None of them came close to what you accomplished in 3 hours. That matters. Regardless of what happens next, that matters. Maya nodded once. See you on the other side, Mr. Blackwell. She walked out of his office through the chaos of the 47th floor into the private elevator and out onto the street. The cold air hit her like a wave. Her phone showed 17 new notifications. She ignored them all and hailed a cab. The ride home took 41 minutes through afternoon traffic. Maya used every one of them to prepare. Mr. Chen wanted to know how she had achieved fluency in 9 languages. He wanted to probe for inconsistencies, for gaps, for signs that she wasn't who she claimed to be. Fine, she would give him the truth, and the truth would set her free, or destroy her completely. At 5:23, Maya Richardson stood in front of her mirror. She had changed out of her casual clothes into the nicest outfit she owned. A simple black dress her mother had given her for scholarship interviews. Low heels, minimal jewelry, professional but not trying too hard. Her mother appeared in the doorway. You look beautiful. I look terrified. That too. Amara crossed the room and stood behind her daughter. Do you know what I see when I look at you? A girl who's about to make the biggest mistake of her life. I see my grandmother. Amara's voice was soft. She grew up in a village in Kenya where girls weren't supposed to be educated. She taught herself to read using discarded newspapers. She walked 12 miles each way to attend a school that didn't want her. She was told 1,000 times that she didn't belong, that she wasn't smart enough, that she should accept her place. What happened to her? She became the first woman in her region to earn a university degree. She became a teacher. She educated 3 generations of students who went on to become doctors, lawyers, engineers. She changed the world, Maya, one impossible achievement at a time. Maya's eyes filled with tears. I'm scared, Mom. I know. Amara turned her daughter to face her. But here's what I also know. You have her fire. You have her stubbornness. You have her gift for languages that runs through our bloodline like a river. Whatever happens tonight, you carry her with you. You carry all of us. The doorbell rang. That's my car. Maya, her mother gripped her shoulders. Remember who you are. Richardson women don't back down. Richardson women rise up. Maya hugged her mother tight. Then she walked downstairs, out the door, and into the waiting town car. The Peninsula Hotel gleamed in the evening light. Maya had walked past it dozens of times, never imagining she would actually enter. It was the kind of place that didn't acknowledge people like her. The kind of place where servers were invisible and guests were gods. Tonight she was neither. Tonight she was something new. The lobby was overwhelming in its elegance, but Maya didn't slow down. She had a meeting. Everything else was just decoration. "Miss Richardson." A young man in a hotel uniform approached. "Mr. Chen is expecting you in the Emperor's suite. Please follow me." The elevator ride to the penthouse took 18 seconds. 18 seconds to prepare for the most important conversation of her life. The doors opened onto a private hallway. At the end stood two men in dark suits with earpieces. Security. They looked at Maya like she was a threat. Maybe she was. The young man knocked on the suite door. "Enter." Mr. Chen's voice muffled through the wood. The door opened. Mr. Chen sat alone at a round table by the window. The city stretched out below him, glittering and indifferent. A tea service waited untouched between two chairs. He looked up as Maya entered. "Miss Richardson, thank you for coming." "Thank you for agreeing to meet Mr. Chen." She spoke in Mandarin. His eyebrows rose slightly. "Please, sit. We have much to discuss." Maya sat across from him. "Before we begin," she said, still in Mandarin, "I want you to know something. I am not a spy. I am not an intelligence asset. I am not connected to any government agency, American or otherwise. I'm a 17-year-old girl who loves languages and happened to be in the right place at the right time." Chen studied her for a long moment. "You speak our language beautifully, better than most foreigners I've encountered, better than many native speakers I know." "Thank you." "It is not a compliment. It is an observation that raises questions." He leaned forward. "How does a child from Brooklyn achieve this level of fluency? Who trained you? Who paid for your education? Who benefits from your abilities?" "No one trained me. No one paid for my education. I benefit from my abilities, Mr. Chen. No one else." "That is difficult to believe." "It's the truth." Chen poured tea for both of them. The ritual was slow, deliberate, giving him time to think. "Tell me," he said finally. "Tell me everything. From the beginning. And I will determine for myself what is true." Maya took a deep breath, and she told him. She told him about her mother, the linguistics professor who filled their home with language tapes and foreign films. She told him about her father, the jazz musician who brought home music from every culture he encountered. She told him about the flashcards she started carrying at 12, the conversation partners she found online at 13, and the summer programs she saved for at 14. She told him about the hours, thousands of hours, tens of thousands of hours, every spare moment devoted to learning, practicing, perfecting. She told him about the competitions, the scholarships, the community volunteering at translation centers for immigrants who needed help navigating American bureaucracy. She told him about the loneliness, the classmates who thought she was weird, the teachers who didn't know what to do with her, the constant feeling of being too much and not enough at the same time. She told him everything. And when she finished, an hour had passed and Mr. Chen was looking at her differently. "You know what I see when I look at you?" he asked quietly. "What?" "I see my daughter." Maya blinked. "Your daughter." "She is 19. She speaks 4 languages fluently. She works harder than anyone I know, studies longer, sacrifices more. And still people look at her and see only her father's name. They assume everything she has achieved was given to her, not earned." "I'm sorry." "Don't be sorry. Be proud." Chen leaned forward. "You have done something remarkable, Miss Richardson. You have built something extraordinary from nothing but determination and time. That is not the profile of a spy. That is the profile of a scholar." Maya's throat tightened. "So you believe me?" "I believe you." He paused. "But believing you is not enough. I must convince others, and that requires proof." "What kind of proof?" Chen smiled. It was the first genuine smile she had seen from him. "The kind of proof only you can provide." He reached into his jacket and pulled out a document. Dense paragraphs of Mandarin text covered both sides. "This is the technical addendum to our contract. It contains highly specialized terminology relating to encryption protocols, data architecture, and cybersecurity standards. Most professional translators struggle with material like this." He slid the document across the table. "Translate it, out loud, now." Maya picked up the document. The characters swam before her eyes. Technical jargon, legal terminology, industry-specific language that required not just fluency, but expertise. She started reading. The words came slowly at first, then faster still. She translated each section into English, explaining the meaning behind the terminology, catching subtle implications that a literal translation would miss. When she finished, Chen was staring at her. "Remarkable," he whispered. "Truly remarkable. Is that proof enough?" "It is proof enough for me, but I am not the only one who needs convincing." He stood and walked to the door. "Come, there is someone else who wishes to speak with you." Maya's heart dropped. "Who?" Chen opened the door. Standing in the hallway, flanked by the security guards, was a woman Maya didn't recognize. Gray suit, gray hair, gray eyes that seemed to look straight through her. "Miss Richardson," the woman said. "My name is Ambassador Wei Lianying. I represent the Ministry of State Security of the People's Republic of China." Maya stopped breathing. "Please don't be alarmed," the ambassador continued. "I am not here to threaten you. I am here to offer you an opportunity." "What kind of opportunity?" The ambassador smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. "The kind that changes everything. May we come in?" Maya looked at Chen. His expression was unreadable. She looked at the ambassador. Her expression was patient. She thought about running, about calling Blackwell, about screaming for help, but Richardson women don't back down. "Please," Maya said, "come in." The door closed behind them with a soft click, and Maya Richardson realized that her life had just changed forever. The door clicked shut at 6:47 p.m. Ambassador Wei Lianying walked past Maya without waiting for an invitation. Her movements were precise, calculated like every step had been rehearsed 1,000 times. The two security guards remained in the hallway. Mr. Chen stood by the window, his expression carefully neutral. Maya's heart hammered against her ribs. "Please," the ambassador said, gesturing to the chairs. "Sit. This conversation works better when everyone is comfortable." "I'm not sure comfort is possible right now." "Honesty. Good." Wei Lianying settled into the chair that Chen had occupied minutes before. "I despise games, Miss Richardson. They waste time. So let me be direct with you." "Please do." "Your government believes you are a person of interest." Maya's blood turned to ice. "My government, the American government." "Yes, the FBI opened a preliminary file on you approximately 4 hours ago. They are investigating whether your presence at last night's negotiation constituted a national security concern." "That's insane. I'm American. I was helping an American company." "You were helping an American company communicate with foreign governments. Some of those governments are not friendly to American interests." Wei Lianying's gray eyes never blinked. "The FBI finds this concerning. So do we." "You said you weren't here to threaten me." "I'm not. I'm here to inform you of the reality you now inhabit." The ambassador leaned forward slightly. "You have become interesting, Miss Richardson, to everyone. The Americans suspect you might be working for us. We suspected you might be working for them. Mr. Chen believed you were simply an extraordinary young woman who happened to speak our language beautifully." Mr. Chen was right. Perhaps, but being right and being believed are very different things. Wei Lianying paused. "Tell me, Miss Richardson, what do you know about the Linguistic Intelligence Program?" Maya frowned. "Nothing. I've never heard of it." "Most people haven't. It's a joint initiative between several governments to identify and recruit individuals with exceptional language abilities. People who can move between cultures seamlessly. People who can understand not just words but contexts, implications, hidden meanings. You're describing translators." "I'm describing assets." The ambassador's voice hardened. "Translators convert words. Assets convert influence. There is a significant difference." "I'm not an asset. I'm a high school student." "You were a high school student. Now you are something else entirely." Wei Lianying stood and walked to the window, her back to Maya. "Last night, you demonstrated abilities that most trained intelligence operatives spend decades developing. You navigated 9 different cultural contexts simultaneously. You caught implications that professional translators missed. You understood not just what was being said, but what was being meant. That's just how languages work. No, Miss Richardson, that is how exceptional minds work." The ambassador turned. "The question is what you intend to do with yours." Maya looked at Chen. He remained silent, watching. "What exactly are you offering?" she asked. "Education, resources, opportunities, a path that leads to places you cannot currently imagine." Wei Lianying returned to her chair. "China has programs for individuals like you. Full scholarship at Beijing University. Language immersion in any culture you choose. A career in international diplomacy upon graduation." You want me to work for China. I want you to consider your options. All of them. Including the one your own government is preparing to take away. Maya's throat tightened. What do you mean? The FBI investigation will not find evidence of espionage because there is none to find. But investigations have consequences regardless of their outcomes. Your Yale acceptance will be questioned. Your scholarship applications will be flagged. Your future will be examined under microscopes that few 17-year-olds can survive. You're saying they'll destroy my life even if I'm innocent. I'm saying innocence is a luxury that people like you can no longer afford. Wei Linying's voice softened slightly. You stepped into visibility, Miss Richardson. You cannot step back into shadow. The only question now is who will shape your visible future. Silence fell over the room. Maya's mind raced through possibilities. Each one led to a dead end. Accept China's offer and become the spy everyone already believed she was. Refuse and watch her American future crumble under suspicion and investigation. There's a third option, she said slowly. Wei Lianying raised an eyebrow. Is there? I could tell everyone the truth, publicly, on camera. Let the world see exactly who I am and how I learned what I know. And who would believe you? The people who watched me last night, the millions who saw those videos. They believed I could speak 9 languages when everyone said it was impossible. Maybe they'll believe I'm innocent too. The ambassador studied her for a long moment. You are either very brave or very foolish, Miss Richardson. I'm 17. The line between those is pretty thin. Chen laughed. It was sudden, unexpected, and it broke something in the room. I told you, he said to the ambassador. I told you she was special. Wei Lianying's expression remained unreadable. Special people are the most dangerous kind. They cannot be predicted. Maybe that's the point. Maya stood. Her legs were shaking, but her voice was steady. Ambassador Wei, I appreciate your offer. I understand the risks you've outlined, but I'm not going to make a decision tonight. Not about China, not about anything. Time is not a luxury you possess? Then I'll have to make it one. Maya moved toward the door. Mr. Chen, thank you for your hospitality. I hope this conversation has convinced you that I am exactly who I claim to be. Chen nodded slowly. It has convinced me of many things, Miss Richardson. Not all of them comfortable. Comfort is overrated. She reached for the door handle. Miss Richardson? Wei Lianying's voice stopped her. One more thing. Maya turned. The FBI will contact you within 24 hours. When they do remember this, they are not your friends. They are not trying to help you. They are trying to use you just as we are. The only difference is that we are honest about it. Maya absorbed this without responding. I'll keep that in mind. She opened the door and walked past the security guards without looking at them. The elevator arrived in seconds. The descent took 18 seconds. She counted every one. The lobby of the Peninsula Hotel was busier now, filled with evening arrivals and cocktail crowds. Maya moved through them like a ghost, invisible again, exactly as she had been 2 nights ago, except nothing was the same. She stepped onto the street at 7:23 p.m. The cold air hit her like a slap. She welcomed it. The shock helped clear her head. Her phone had accumulated 31 new notifications during the meeting. She ignored them all and called the only number that mattered. Her mother answered on the first ring. Maya, are you safe? I'm safe. I'm leaving the hotel now. What happened? Maya hesitated. How could she explain any of this Chinese intelligence offers? FBI investigations, a future that had cracked open in directions she never imagined. A lot, Mom. A lot happened. Come home. We'll figure it out together. I'm on my way. She hailed a cab and gave her address. The driver was playing jazz on the radio. Some old Miles Davis recording her father would have recognized instantly. Maya leaned her head against the window and let the music wash over her. Somewhere in this city, FBI agents were building a file with her name on it. Somewhere in this city, Chinese diplomats were debating whether she was worth recruiting or neutralizing. Somewhere in this city, Victor Blackwell was waiting to see which way the wind would blow. And Maya Richardson, 17 years old, when speaker of 9 languages, was trying to figure out how to survive all of it. The cab pulled up to her brownstone at 8:04 p.m. Her parents were waiting on the front steps. Her father reached her first, pulling her into a hug that squeezed the air from her lungs. We saw the news, he said. They're saying the FBI is involved. They are. They're saying you might be under investigation. I might be. Her mother's face was carved from stone. Inside, now. We're not having this conversation on the street. The Richardson family gathered around the kitchen table at 8:11 p.m. Maya told them everything: the ambassador's offer, the warning about the FBI, the impossible choice she was being asked to make. When she finished, her father's hands were clenched into fists on the table. "They can't do this," he said. "You haven't done anything wrong. It doesn't matter what I've done. It matters what they think I might do. This is America. You have rights." "Dad," Maya's voice was gentle but firm, "I love that you believe that. But we both know rights work differently for people who look like me." James Richardson flinched like she had struck him. "She's right," Amara said quietly. "We have to be strategic about this. Strategic how our daughter is being targeted by the FBI and the Chinese government simultaneously. What strategy addresses that? The same strategy that has worked for our people for 400 years. Amara reached across the table and took Maya's hands. "We survive. We adapt. We find ways to turn their weapons against them." "How, Cook?" "By controlling the narrative." Amara's eyes were fierce. "They want Maya to be a spy, a threat, a danger. We make her something else. We make her a symbol." "A symbol of what?" "Of everything they fear. A black girl who is smarter than they are, more talented than they are, more capable than they are. We show the world what Maya can do, and we let them decide who to believe." Maya stared at her mother. "You want me to go public?" "I want you to go nuclear." The word hung in the air. "Amara," James's voice was strained. "If she does that, there's no going back. She'll be exposed. Vulnerable. Every enemy she's ever made will have a target. She's already a target. The only question is whether she's a target who fights back or one who waits to be destroyed. This is insane. This is survival. This is our daughter." "Yes?" Amara's voice cracked for the first time. "This is our daughter. The most brilliant, talented, extraordinary person I have ever known, and I refuse to watch her disappear into some FBI file or Chinese recruitment program. I refuse to let them take her light." Silence fell. Maya looked at her parents, her father terrified and furious, her mother fierce and breaking. "I need to think," she said. "I need time." "You don't have time," Amara said. "The FBI could knock on our door tomorrow." "Then I have tonight." Maya stood. "I'm going to my room. I need to figure out what I actually want before I decide how to fight for it." She climbed the stairs without looking back. Her bedroom door closed at 8:34 p.m. Maya sat on her bed in the darkness. Her phone glowed with notifications. 78 now, climbing every minute. She turned it off. The silence was deafening. For 17 years, Maya Richardson had known exactly who she was. A girl who loved languages, a daughter who worked hard, a student who dreamed of Yale and the UN, and a life spent building bridges between cultures. Now she didn't know anything. She pulled the Yale acceptance letter from her pocket. The paper was soft from handling the creases worn deep. She had memorized every word, every phrase, every promise it contained. "Dear Ms. Richardson, we are pleased to inform you." Would Yale still be pleased when the FBI came calling? Would they still want her when her name appeared in security briefings and intelligence reports? A knock at her door. "Maya?" Her father's voice. "Can I come in?" "Yeah." James Richardson entered slowly, like he was approaching something fragile. He sat on the edge of her bed without speaking. "Your mother is scared," he said finally. "When she gets scared, she gets aggressive. It's how she's survived." "I know." "What she's suggesting, it's not wrong exactly, but it's not the only way either." "What's the other way?" James was quiet for a long moment. "When I was 23, I got arrested in Mississippi. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong skin color. They held me for 3 days without charges. No phone call, no lawyer, nothing." Maya's breath caught. "You never told me that." "I never told anyone, not even your mother, for years." He stared at his hands. "In those 3 days, I had 2 choices. I could fight back, make noise, demand my rights, or I could survive. Get out, live to play another day." "What did you do?" "I survived. I kept my head down, said yes, sir, and no, sir, and when they finally let me go, I walked out of that station and I never looked back." "Do you regret it?" James met her eyes. "Every single day. Because I survived, but I also surrendered. I let them win. I told them that a black man's pride wasn't worth fighting for." His voice broke. "I don't want that for you, Maya. I don't want you to spend your life wondering what would have happened if you'd stood up instead of stepped back." But you also don't want me to get destroyed. I want you to choose your own path, not your mother's path, not my path, yours. He reached out and took her hand. Whatever you decide, I will stand with you. We both will. That's what family means. Maya squeezed his hand. Thanks, Dad. Get some sleep, baby girl. Tomorrow's going to be a long day. He kissed her forehead and left. Maya lay back on her bed at 9:08 p.m. Sleep didn't come. Her mind kept racing through scenarios. Going public, staying quiet, accepting China's offer, rejecting everyone. Each path led somewhere she couldn't see, somewhere she couldn't predict. At 11:17 p.m., her phone buzzed. She had turned it off. She was certain she had turned it off, but it was buzzing anyway. She picked it up. One new message from an unknown number. Miss Richardson, this is Special Agent David Torres with the FBI. We need to speak with you tomorrow morning. Please call this number to arrange a meeting. Cooperation is in your best interest. Maya stared at the screen. 24 hours, the ambassador had said. She had been wrong. It was more like 6. At 11:19 p.m., Maya Richardson made a decision. She opened Twitter and typed 4 words. I have something to say. Then she set her phone down and waited for the world to respond. It didn't take long. By 11:31 p.m., her tweet had 4,000 retweets. By 11:47 p.m., it had 27,000. By midnight, it was the #1 trending topic in America. Her phone rang at 12:03 a.m. Victor Blackwell. Maya answered, What the hell are you doing? His voice was sharp with panic. Taking control of my narrative. You're starting a war. The war already started, Mr. Blackwell. I'm just choosing my side. Which side is that? Maya looked at the Yale letter one more time. Then she answered, My own. She hung up. At 12:15 a.m., Maya Richardson opened her laptop and began to write. Not a statement. Not a defense. A story. Her story. She wrote about her mother, the linguistics professor who left everything behind for love. She wrote about her father, the jazz musician who worked double shifts so his daughter could dream. She wrote about the thousands of hours of practice, the flashcards, the conversation partners, the summers spent studying while other kids played. She wrote about being invisible, about being underestimated, about being told again and again that girls like her didn't belong in rooms like those. She wrote about Victor Blackwell's champagne hitting her chest, about the laughter, about the humiliation, and she wrote about standing up anyway. The document grew to 3 pages, then 5, then 8. At 2:44 a.m., Maya finished writing. She read it once from beginning to end. Then she posted it everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, every platform she had ever created an account on. The title was simple. My name is Maya Richardson. This is my truth. At 3:07 a.m., Good Morning America's producer called. At 3:22 a.m., CNN offered an exclusive interview. At 3:41 a.m., the New York Times requested a statement. Maya's mother found her at 4:15 a.m., still awake, still watching the notifications climb. What have you done? What you told me to do, I went nuclear. Amara sat beside her daughter and looked at the screen. 73 million impressions, she whispered. Maya, I know. There's no going back from this. I know. Amara was quiet for a long moment. Your grandmother would be proud. I hope so, because I'm terrified. Being terrified means you understand the stakes. Amara pulled her daughter close. Now get some sleep. You have a war to win tomorrow. Maya closed her laptop at 4:23 a.m. She fell asleep at 4:31 a.m. The alarm screamed at 6 a.m. Maya had slept 90 minutes. It would have to be enough. Her phone showed 412 notifications. She ignored them all except one. A text from Special Agent Torres. I've seen your post. This doesn't change our meeting. 10 a.m., FBI Field Office 26 Federal Plaza. Don't be late, Maya typed back. I'll be there, but I won't be alone. His response was immediate. Who's coming with you? Maya smiled for the first time in 24 hours. Everyone. At 9:45 a.m., Maya Richardson stood outside 26 Federal Plaza. Behind her stood her parents. Behind them stood Marcus Chen. Behind Marcus stood her principal, Dr. Watkins. Behind Dr. Watkins stood 11 students from the Marcus Garvey Academy Language Club. Behind the students stood 4 reporters from major news outlets who had been following Maya since dawn. Behind the reporters stood approximately 200 supporters who had seen her post and come to show solidarity. Signs waved in the morning air. We stand with Maya. 9 languages, 0 crimes. Black excellence is not suspicious. Maya looked at the crowd, at the cameras, at the FBI building looming above her. Then she looked at her father. Richardson women don't back down, he said. Richardson women rise up, her mother added. Maya straightened her spine, and she walked through the doors. The FBI field office was everything she expected. Gray walls, gray floors, gray people. A world designed to make individuals feel small and institutions feel permanent. Special Agent David Torres met her in the lobby. He was younger than she expected, mid-30s, Hispanic, wedding ring on his left hand. He looked tired, like he hadn't slept much either. Miss Richardson, thank you for coming. Did I have a choice? You always have choices. Some are just more advisable than others. That sounds like a threat. That sounds like reality. Torres glanced at the reporters visible through the glass doors. You've made quite a splash. I learned from the best. He studied her for a moment. Follow me. They took an elevator to the 8th floor. Maya's parents came with her. Everyone else was told to wait. The interrogation room was small and hot and cold. A table, 4 chairs, a mirror that was obviously two-way. This isn't an interrogation, Torres said, noticing her expression. It's a conversation. Then why the mirror to procedure? He sat across from her. Miss Richardson, I'm going to be honest with you. When this case landed on my desk yesterday, I thought you were guilty. Of what? Something, anything. A 17-year-old who speaks 9 languages and shows up at the exact moment a major international deal needs saving. That's not coincidence, that's planning. It was coincidence. So I've come to believe. Torres opened a folder. We've spent the last 18 hours investigating your background, your family, your education, your communications, every language partner you've ever spoken to, every summer program you've ever attended, every dollar that's ever entered or left your bank account. Maya's stomach turned. That's invasive. That's national security. He slid the folder across the table. You know what we found? Nothing, because there's nothing to find. We found a girl who has spent 17 years working harder than anyone I've ever investigated. We found thousands of hours of language practice documented in journals and apps and video logs. We found teachers and tutors and community members who all said the same thing. Maya Richardson is exactly who she claims to be. Maya's throat tightened. Then why am I here? Because I need to hear it from you. Torres leaned forward. The Chinese delegation is nervous. The Japanese are asking questions. The Russians have filed a formal inquiry. There are very powerful people who want this story to be more complicated than it is. And if I tell you the truth, it all goes away. Nothing ever goes away, Miss Richardson, but it can become manageable. Maya looked at her parents. Her mother nodded slightly. What do you want to know? Torres asked questions for 97 minutes. Where did you learn Japanese? How did you practice Mandarin? Who were your Arabic tutors? Why did you study Russian? What drew you to Swahili? How did you pay for language programs? What were your career goals? Why were you working as a caterer? How did you end up at the Blackwell event? Maya answered everything. She answered with details that only someone who had actually lived her life could know. The names of her online conversation partners, the specific programs she had completed, the books she had read, the mistakes she had made, the breakthroughs she had experienced. She told Torres about the flashcards she carried everywhere, about the audio lessons she listened to while doing dishes, about the nights she stayed up practicing pronunciation until her throat was raw. She told him about being underestimated, about being invisible, about being told that girls like her didn't belong in places like the Blackwell Ballroom, and she told him about standing up anyway. When she finished, Torres was quiet for a long time. Miss Richardson, he said finally, I've been with the FBI for 12 years. I've interrogated terrorist spies, criminals of every kind. I've learned to recognize lies the way most people recognize faces. And you're not lying. You're not a spy. You're not an asset. You're just extraordinary. Maya let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. Does that mean I'm free to go? It means this investigation is being closed. No charges. No further surveillance. No mark on your record. Torres stood. But I want you to understand something. What? The skills you have, the abilities you've developed, they're valuable. To everyone. Governments will try to recruit you. Corporations will try to buy you. Intelligence agencies will watch you for the rest of your life, hoping you'll become useful. Is that supposed to scare me? It's supposed to prepare you. Torres extended his hand. Good luck, Miss Richardson. I have a feeling you're going to need it. Maya shook his hand. I've survived this far without luck. I think I'll keep trusting the hard work. She walked out of the interrogation room at 12:42 p.m. Her parents embraced her immediately. "It's over," her father whispered. "It's finally over." "No, Dad." Maya pulled back and looked at them both. "It's just beginning." They emerged from the FBI building at 12:51. The crowd had grown. 300 people now, maybe more. Signs waving, cameras flashing, reporters shouting questions. Maya stopped at the top of the steps. The world was watching. Everything she said in the next few minutes would define her for years to come. She thought about Victor Blackwell and his job offer. She thought about Ambassador Wei and her recruitment pitch. She thought about Agent Torres and his warning. She thought about her grandmother walking 12 miles to a school that didn't want her. Then Maya Richardson raised her head, squared her shoulders, and spoke. "My name is Maya Richardson. I am 17 years old. I speak 9 languages, and I am not a spy." The crowd erupted. Maya waited for silence. 2 days ago, a man threw champagne in my face and told me to stay invisible. He told me that girls like me didn't belong in rooms like his. He told me that my abilities were impossible, my claims were lies, and my presence was an embarrassment. She paused. He was wrong. The cheers were deafening. "I am not here because I am special. I am here because I worked. Every day, every hour, every minute I could spare. While other kids were sleeping, I was studying. While other kids were playing, I was practicing. While other kids were being told they could be anything I was being told, I would be nothing." Her voice cracked. "But I refused to believe them. I refused to accept that my skin color determined my potential. I refused to accept that my zip code defined my future. I refused to accept that being young and black and female meant being invisible." She looked directly into the cameras. "To every young person watching this, especially every young person who looks like me, you are not invisible. Your dreams are not impossible. Your talents are not suspicious. You are exactly as extraordinary as you believe yourself to be." Tears streamed down her face. "My name is Maya Richardson. I will not disappear, and neither should you." The crowd roared. Signs pumped in the air. Reporters scrambled to capture every word. And Maya Richardson, 17 years old, a speaker of 9 languages, target of governments and corporations and intelligence agencies, stood in the center of it all, finally completely, undeniably seen. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Miss Richardson, this is the President's office. The First Lady would like to meet you. Are you available this week?" Maya stared at the screen. Then she laughed. What a difference 2 days could make. The text from the White House burned in Maya's mind as her family pushed through the crowd outside Federal Plaza at 1:07 p.m. Reporters shouted questions from every direction. Cameras flashed like lightning in a storm. Supporters pressed forward, reaching for her, wanting to touch the girl who had become a symbol overnight. "Maya, how do you feel about the FBI clearing your name? Maya, will you accept Victor Blackwell's job offer? Maya, what's your message to young people watching?" Her father's arm tightened around her shoulders as they moved toward the waiting car. "Keep walking, baby. Don't stop." They made it inside at 1:11 p.m. The door slammed shut. The noise vanished. For the first time in hours, Maya could breathe. Her mother was already on her phone. "The White House call is real," Amara said, her voice tight with disbelief. "The First Lady's assistant just confirmed. They want you there tomorrow at 10 a.m. "The White House?" Maya's father shook his head slowly. "My daughter is going to the White House. What does she want with me?" They didn't say specifically, something about youth empowerment and the importance of multilingual education. Amara lowered her phone. "Maya, do you understand what this means?" "I'm starting to." 2 days ago, you were serving champagne. Now the First Lady of the United States wants to meet you personally. This isn't just fame anymore. This is power. "I don't want power." "What you want doesn't matter anymore. Power has chosen you." Amara's eyes were fierce. "The only question is what you'll do with it." Maya's phone buzzed. "Victor Blackwell." She answered. "Miss Richardson, congratulations on your exoneration." "Thank you, Mr. Blackwell." "I assume you've been contacted by the White House." "How do you know about that?" "I know about everything that concerns my interests, and you, Miss Richardson, have become very interesting to very many people." His voice was calm, but there was an edge beneath it. "We need to talk, tonight, before your meeting tomorrow." "Why?" "Because there are things you need to know, things that will affect every decision you make from this point forward." That sounds ominous. "It sounds like reality. My office, 7 p.m., come alone." The line went dead. Maya stared at her phone. "What did he want?" her father asked. To meet tonight. Absolutely not. Amara's voice was sharp. You're not going anywhere near that man without... I have to go. Maya. Mom. Maya turned to face her mother. Blackwell knows things. About the deal. About what happens next. About everything that's moving behind the scenes. I need that information. You need to stay safe. I need to stay informed. Those aren't the same thing. Maya took her mother's hand. I know what I'm doing. I've been surviving rooms full of powerful men for 2 days now. I can handle one more. Amara's jaw tightened. If anything happens to you, nothing will happen. I'll call you every hour. I'll share my location, but I have to do this. The silence stretched between them. Finally, her mother nodded. Richardson women don't back down. Richardson women rise up. Maya arrived at Blackwell Global Technologies at 6:53 p.m. The building was quieter now than it had been during her last visit. The frantic energy of the translation crisis had faded, replaced by the steady hum of normal operations. Victoria Chen met her in the lobby. Miss Richardson, Mr. Blackwell is expecting you. So I've been told. They rode the elevator in silence. The 47th floor was nearly empty. A few late workers hunched over laptops. A cleaning crew moved between offices. The chaos of 2 days ago felt like ancient history. Blackwell's office door was open. He stood at the window, his back to her, watching the city lights flicker to life below. Close the door, Miss Richardson. We have much to discuss. Maya closed it. Sit. I'll stand. Blackwell turned. His expression was different tonight. Older, more tired. Something in his eyes that she hadn't seen before. Do you know what happened today while you were giving your speech outside the FBI building? A lot of things, I imagine. The Chinese delegation signed the final contracts. The deal is complete. $9 billion, 9 countries, the largest international technology partnership in my company's history. Maya's heart skipped. I thought they were having second thoughts. They were, until your post went viral. Blackwell moved to his desk and sat heavily. Mr. Chen called me at 4 a.m. this morning. Do you know what he said? No. He said that anyone willing to risk everything to tell the truth was someone he wanted to do business with. He said your courage convinced him that this deal was worth pursuing. He said you reminded him of his daughter. Maya didn't know how to respond. The deal closed because of you, Miss Richardson. Not despite you. Because of you. Blackwell leaned forward. Do you understand what that means? It means I should probably ask for a raise. He laughed. It was unexpected, genuine, almost warm. It means you have leverage. Real leverage. The kind that doesn't disappear when the cameras turn off. Leverage for what? That's what I want to discuss. Blackwell opened a drawer and pulled out a folder. I made you an offer 3 days ago. Full educational support. Guaranteed position in my international relations division. A career path that could take you anywhere. I remember. That offer is no longer on the table. Maya's stomach dropped. Because I went public, because I talked to the FBI. Because you've outgrown it. Blackwell slid the folder across the desk. This is the new offer? Maya picked it up with trembling hands. The first page made her sit down despite herself. This is a partnership agreement. 20% equity stake in a new division focused on international linguistic services. You would be the face, the voice, and the primary architect of a global communication initiative. Full authority over hiring strategy and implementation. I'm 17. You'll be 18 in 4 months. The division won't launch until then. I haven't even started college. The agreement includes full funding for any educational institution you choose. Yale, Harvard, Oxford, anywhere. No strings attached. The education is yours regardless of what you decide about the partnership. Maya stared at the numbers on the page. 7 figures. Annual. Before profit sharing. Why? She asked quietly. Why are you offering me this? Blackwell was silent for a long moment. Because I'm 62 years old, Miss Richardson. I've built an empire. I've made billions. And in 2 nights, you showed me that everything I thought I knew about talent and potential was wrong. He stood and walked to the window again. I spent my whole life believing I could identify excellence, that I could look at a person and know what they were capable of. And now I know I've been blind. For decades. Missing people like you because they didn't look the way I expected excellence to look. He turned to face her. This isn't charity. This isn't guilt. This is a business decision. You have abilities that I can't buy anywhere else. The question is whether you're willing to sell them. What if I'm not? Then you walk out of here with the educational funding anyway. Consider it an investment in someone who deserves better than the world has given her. Maya looked at the folder, at the numbers, at the future it represented. I need time to think. Take all the time you need, but Miss Richardson, yes. The White House meeting tomorrow. Be careful what you promise. Why? Blackwell's expression darkened. Because the First Lady didn't reach out because she cares about youth empowerment. She reached out because you're valuable, and valuable people tend to get used by everyone who can reach them. Including you. Especially me. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. At least I'm honest about it. Maya left Blackwell's office at 8:23. The city was alive around her, millions of people moving through their ordinary lives, completely unaware that her extraordinary life was changing by the hour. She called her mother. I'm safe. I'm heading home. What did he want? To offer me a partnership, 20% of a new division, more money than I can comprehend. Silence on the line. Are you going to take it? I don't know yet. Shh. Maya hailed a cab. I need to think about everything. The White House called again. They want to confirm tomorrow's meeting. Tell them yes. Are you sure? No, but I'm going anyway. The cab dropped her home at 9:04 p.m. Her parents were waiting in the kitchen with food she couldn't eat and questions she couldn't answer. What did he say exactly? What did the folder contain? What are you going to do? Maya held up her hands. I don't know. Okay, I don't know anything right now. I need to sleep. I need to think. I need to figure out what I actually want before everyone else decides for me. She climbed the stairs to her room and closed the door. Sleep was impossible. Her mind kept cycling through options. Blackwell's offer, the White House meeting, China's recruitment pitch, the FBI's warning, Yale's acceptance letter, her parents' fears, her own dreams. At 11:47 p.m. her phone buzzed. Marcus. Hey, you awake? Yeah, can't sleep. I saw your speech. It was incredible. Thanks. I don't remember most of it. That's how you know it was real. His response came with a smiley face. How are you holding up? Honestly, I have no idea. Everything is moving so fast. I feel like I'm drowning in options. That's a good problem to have. Is it better than drowning in no options? Better than being invisible? Maya smiled despite everything. You always know what to say. I just say what's true. That's the Richardson family specialty, right? She laughed out loud. Something like that. Get some sleep, Maya. Tomorrow's going to be big. Tomorrow's going to be terrifying. Same thing sometimes. Good night, superstar. Good night, Marcus. She put her phone down at midnight. At 12:17 a.m. sleep finally came. The dreams were chaos again. White House hallways that never ended. Victor Blackwell laughing at her. Ambassador Wei offering contracts written in blood. Her mother crying. Her father playing saxophone at her funeral. Maya woke at 5:41 a.m. gasping. Her sheets were soaked with sweat. Her heart was racing. She lay in the darkness trying to steady her breathing. Today was the day. Everything would change. Again. The car from the White House arrived at 8:15 a.m. Black sedan, tinted windows, 2 Secret Service agents who didn't smile. Maya hugged her parents on the front steps. Call us the moment you're done, her mother said. I will. Remember who you are. I will. Her father pulled her close. I'm proud of you, baby girl. Whatever happens, whatever you decide, I'm proud. Maya climbed into the car at 8:19 a.m. The drive to Washington took 4 hours and 12 minutes. Maya spent most of it staring out the window, watching America roll past, thinking about everything that had brought her to this moment. 17 years of practice, thousands of hours of study, millions of words in 9 different languages, all of it leading here, to a meeting with the First Lady, about her future, about who she was going to become. The car pulled through the White House gates at 12:31 p.m. Security was intense. Maya passed through 3 checkpoints before she was allowed inside. Her phone was confiscated. Her bag was searched. Every inch of her was scanned. Finally, a young woman in a crisp suit appeared. Miss Richardson, I'm Sarah Chen, assistant to the First Lady. Please follow me. They walked through corridors that Maya recognized from movies and textbooks. History pressed down from every wall, every portrait, every inch of carpet. The White House. She was actually inside the White House. Sarah stopped outside a set of double doors. The First Lady is ready for you. You have 30 minutes. Maya nodded. The doors opened. First Lady Michelle Hastings stood in the center of the room, elegant and composed exactly as she appeared in every photograph Maya had ever seen. Maya Richardson. Her voice was warm but measured. "I've been looking forward to meeting you." "Thank you, ma'am. The honor is mine. Please, sit. We have much to discuss." They settled into chairs by the window. Tea appeared. Maya didn't touch hers. "I saw your speech yesterday," the First Lady began, "outside the FBI building. It was remarkable." "Thank you. You spoke about being invisible, about being underestimated, about refusing to accept the limitations others placed on you." She leaned forward slightly. "That resonated with me deeply. It resonated with a lot of people, apparently. It should resonate with everyone, but especially with young women who look like us." The First Lady paused. "Do you know why I asked you here, Maya? I assumed it was about youth empowerment, or multilingual education. Those are part of it. But mostly I asked you here because I wanted to meet the girl who made Victor Blackwell apologize on national television." Maya blinked. "You saw that. Everyone saw that. The most powerful tech CEO in America publicly admitting he was wrong about a 17-year-old black girl. That doesn't happen, Maya. That has never happened. It happened because I didn't give him a choice." "Exactly." The First Lady's eyes gleamed. "You didn't give him a choice. You took control of your own narrative. You refused to be a victim or a villain or a prop in someone else's story. Do you understand how rare that is? I'm starting to. I want to help you." The First Lady stood and walked to the window. "There's a program I've been developing for the past 3 years. A scholarship initiative focused on identifying and supporting exceptional young women from underrepresented communities. Women like you." Maya's heart began to race. "Full funding, mentorship, access to networks that typically remain closed to people from our backgrounds." The First Lady turned. "I want you to be the face of this program, Maya. I want you to be the example that shows other girls what's possible." That's an incredible offer." "There's more." She returned to her seat. "I've spoken with the Secretary of State. There's interest in creating a youth ambassador position. Someone who can represent American values on the international stage. Someone who speaks multiple languages and understands multiple cultures. A diplomatic position. An unofficial one initially, but with real influence, real access, real power." Maya's mind was spinning. 2 incredible offers in less than 24 hours. Blackwell's partnership, the First Lady's initiative, both offering money influence opportunity beyond anything she had ever imagined. "I need to be honest with you, ma'am. Please. Victor Blackwell made me an offer last night. A partnership, equity in a new division, significant compensation." The First Lady's expression didn't change. "I know. He called me this morning to discuss it." Maya's stomach dropped. "He called you?" "Victor and I have known each other for years. We disagree on many things, but we share certain interests, including apparently an interest in your future." "What did he say?" "He said you were the most talented person he had encountered in 40 years of business. He said you had the potential to reshape how international communication works. He said you were going to change the world." That's a lot of pressure. That's reality." The First Lady leaned forward. "Maya, I'm going to be very direct with you. You are standing at a crossroads. Every path in front of you leads somewhere extraordinary. But not every path leads somewhere good." "What do you mean?" "I mean that people like Victor Blackwell don't invest in people like us out of kindness. They invest because they see value, and when the value runs out, so does the investment." "You're saying I shouldn't trust him." "I'm saying you shouldn't trust anyone who offers you something for nothing, including me." Maya met the First Lady's eyes. "Then what's your angle? What do you get out of supporting me?" The First Lady smiled. It was the first genuine smile Maya had seen from her. "I get to watch a young black woman rise to power. I get to see someone who looks like me, who came from where I came from, take her place at tables that have been closed to us for centuries." She paused. "And I get to know that when I leave this position, the world will be slightly different because you're in it." That's a beautiful answer. "It's also true." The First Lady stood. "I'm not asking you to decide anything today, Maya. I'm asking you to think about who you want to be, about what you want your life to mean, about the difference between being successful and being significant. What's the difference? Successful people achieve their goals. Significant people change the goals worth achieving." She extended her hand. "It was a pleasure meeting you, Maya Richardson. I hope we speak again soon." Maya shook her hand. "Thank you, ma'am, for everything." "Thank yourself. You're the one who did the work." Sarah appeared at the door. "Miss Richardson, your car is ready." Maya walked toward the exit, then stopped. "Ma'am, one more question." "Yes." "If you were me, what would you do?" The First Lady considered this for a long moment. "If I were you, I would take some time. Visit Yale. Meet with Blackwell again. Talk to your family. Pray if that's something you do." She paused. "And then I would trust myself to know the right answer when I found it." "How will I know?" "You'll know because it will feel like home. Not easy, not safe, but home." Maya nodded slowly. "Thank you." She walked out of the White House at 1:54 p.m. The car was waiting. The drive back to New York took 4 hours and 17 minutes. Maya spent every one of them thinking about Blackwell's offer, about the First Lady's program, about Ambassador Way's recruitment, about Yale, about her future, about everything. When she arrived home at 6:11 p.m., her parents were waiting. How was it from you? Overwhelming, incredible, terrifying. What did she say? Maya collapsed onto the couch. "She offered me the world, just like Blackwell, just like everyone else." She covered her face with her hands. "Everyone wants to give me something. Everyone wants me to be something. I don't even know who I am yet." Her mother sat beside her. "Then figure it out, before you accept anything from anyone." "How?" "Start with what you know. What do you want, Maya? Not what they want. Not what would make us proud. What do you actually want for yourself?" Maya was quiet for a long time. "I want to help people," she said finally. "I want to use my languages to build bridges, to connect cultures, to help people understand each other." "That's a good start. But I also want to go to Yale. I want to learn from the best. I want to become better than I already am." "That's also good. And I want—" She hesitated. "I want to prove that Blackwell was wrong about me. I want to show everyone who ever underestimated me that they made a mistake." "That's the dangerous one." Maya looked at her mother. "What do you mean? Revenge is a seductive motivator, but it's also a trap. If you build your life around proving others wrong, you'll never be free of them. You'll always be reacting to their expectations instead of creating your own." "So what do I do?" "You let them go." Amara took her daughter's hands. "You stop caring what Victor Blackwell thinks. You stop caring what the First Lady thinks. You stop caring what anyone thinks except yourself. And then you make your decision based on what Maya Richardson wants, not what Maya Richardson wants to prove." Maya's eyes filled with tears. "I don't know how to do that." "Yes, you do. You've been doing it your whole life." Her mother smiled. "You didn't learn 9 languages to prove anything to anyone. You learned them because you loved them, because they made you feel alive, because they connected you to the world in ways nothing else could." "That's true." "Then start there. What would make you feel alive? What would connect you to the world? What would bring you joy, not just success?" Maya closed her eyes. She thought about the flashcards she had carried since childhood, the conversation partners who had become friends, the languages that had opened doors to cultures and ideas she never could have imagined. She thought about the look on Hishimoto's face when she spoke Japanese, the surprise in Chen's eyes when she answered in Mandarin, the respect in Al-Rashid's voice when she addressed him in Arabic. She thought about the girl in the ballroom covered in champagne choosing to stand up instead of retreat, and she knew. "I need to make a call," she said. Her mother nodded. "Take all the time you need." Maya went to her room and closed the door. She picked up her phone. She dialed Victor Blackwell's personal number. He answered on the second ring. "Miss Richardson, I've been expecting your call." "I've made my decision." "I'm listening." Maya took a deep breath. "I'm accepting your educational funding, all of it. No strings attached, just like you promised. And the partnership, I'm declining it." Silence on the line. "May I ask why?" "Because I'm not ready. I'm 17 years old, Mr. Blackwell. I need to learn more before I can build something real. I need to grow more before I can lead anything. And after you've learned, after you've grown, then I'll come back to you with my own offer, on my own terms, for something I've designed myself, not something you've designed for me." Another long silence. "That's either the smartest thing I've ever heard or the stupidest." "Probably both," Blackwell laughed. "You're something else, Maya Richardson." "So I've been told." "The educational funding will be transferred to your account by end of week. Yale, I assume." "Yale." "Good choice. When you're ready to talk about the future, you know where to find me." "I do." "And Miss Richardson?" "Yes." Don't wait too long. The world moves fast for people like us. The line went dead. Maya sat in the silence of her room. She had just turned down more money than her parents would earn in a lifetime, and she had never felt more free. Her phone buzzed. A text from her father. "Whatever you decided, I'm proud of you." Maya smiled. She typed back, "I decided to be myself." Whatever that means. His response was immediate. That's the only decision that ever matters. Maya looked at the Yale letter one more time. In 4 months, she would be a college student. In 4 years, she would be a college graduate. In 10 years, in 20 years, in 50 years, she would be someone the world hadn't imagined yet. But for now, she was just Maya Richardson. 17 years old, speaker of 9 languages, daughter of a jazz musician and a linguistics professor. And for the first time in days, that was enough. She lay back on her bed and closed her eyes. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities, new impossible choices. But tonight, she was going to sleep. Richardson women needed their rest. They had rising to do. 4 years passed like water through open hands. Maya Richardson arrived at Yale University on August 23rd, the year she turned 18. Her parents drove her to campus in the same Honda Civic that had carried her to language competitions for a decade. The trunk was packed with books clothes and the worn flashcard set she refused to leave behind. "You sure you have everything?" her father asked for the 7th time. "I'm sure, Dad." "Because we can turn around if you forgot something." "James?" Her mother's voice was patient but firm. "Let the girl go." They stood outside her dormitory at 2:17 p.m., none of them willing to say goodbye. "Call us every week," Amara said. "I will. And don't forget to eat. You get so focused on studying that you forget basic human needs." "I won't forget." "And if anyone gives you trouble." "Mom." Maya pulled her mother into a hug. "I survived the FBI, the Chinese government, and Victor Blackwell. I think I can handle college." Her father laughed despite the tears in his eyes. "That's my girl." They held each other for a long moment. Then Maya stepped back, picked up her bags, and walked toward her new life. She didn't look back. She couldn't afford to. The first semester hit her like a hurricane. Yale's linguistics program was everything she had dreamed of and nothing she had expected. The coursework was intense. The professors were demanding. The other students were brilliant in ways that made her question everything she thought she knew. For the first time in her life, Maya Richardson was not the smartest person in the room. It terrified her. It also thrilled her. "You're falling behind in phonological theory," Professor Hernandez told her during office hours in October. "Your practical skills are exceptional, but your theoretical foundation needs work." "I'll do better." "I know you will. That's why I'm pushing you." He leaned forward. "Miss Richardson, you came here famous. You came here with 9 languages and a viral video and a story that inspired millions. But fame doesn't pass exams. Hard work does." "I understand." "Do you? Because I've seen talented students burn out when they realize that talent alone isn't enough. I've seen them crumble when they hit their first real challenge." "I won't crumble." "Prove it." Maya spent the next 3 weeks barely sleeping. She attended every office hour. She completed every extra assignment. She formed study groups with students who knew more than she did and learned from them without ego. When midterm grades came out, she had the highest score in the class. Professor Hernandez found her in the library at 11:43 p.m. "Congratulations, Miss Richardson. You proved it." "Thank you, Professor." "Don't thank me. Thank yourself." He paused. "I have a proposition for you." "What kind of proposition?" "A research position. My team is studying the neural basis of multilingual processing. We need someone who can actually speak multiple languages at a high level, someone who can serve as both researcher and subject." Maya's heart raced. "I'm interested." "I thought you might be. We start in January." He walked away without waiting for a response. Maya stared at his retreating form, trying to process what had just happened. A research position, as a freshman, with one of the most respected linguists in the country. She called her mother at 11:51 p.m. "Maya, is everything okay?" "Everything is amazing. I just got offered a research position." Silence. Then, "A what?" "A research position, with Professor Hernandez. He wants me to join his lab." Her mother started crying. Maya cried too. They stayed on the phone for 47 minutes, laughing and crying and planning a future that suddenly seemed limitless. The research position changed everything. Maya spent her freshman spring splitting time between classes' lab work and the study that would eventually be published in the Journal of Cognitive Neuroscience. She learned to use brain imaging equipment. She learned to analyze data. She learned to write academic papers that could change how people understood the human mind. And she learned something else, something more important than any technical skill. She learned that she loved this, not just the languages, not just the recognition, the actual work of discovery. The process of asking questions and finding answers. The thrill of understanding something no one had understood before. At the end of her freshman year, Maya Richardson knew what she wanted to do with her life. She was going to become a scientist. The summer between freshman and sophomore year brought an unexpected visitor. Maya was home in Brooklyn working on a research proposal in her childhood bedroom when the doorbell rang at 3:22 p.m. "I'll get it, she called to her mother. She opened the door. Victor Blackwell stood on her front steps. Maya's entire body went rigid. "Miss Richardson, I hope I'm not interrupting." "You're definitely interrupting." "I apologize, but this couldn't wait." He looked older than she remembered, grayer. Something in his posture had shifted. "May I come in?" Every instinct screamed no, but curiosity won. 5 minutes. She led him to the living room. Her mother appeared in the doorway, her expression somewhere between shock and fury. "Mr. Blackwell, what brings you to our home?" "Mrs. Richardson, I apologize for the intrusion. I have something I need to discuss with your daughter." Amara didn't move. "Whatever you have to say, you can say in front of me." "Of course." Blackwell reached into his jacket and pulled out an envelope. "This arrived at my office last week. It's addressed to Maya, but it came through company channels." Maya took the envelope with trembling hands. The return address was Beijing. "Open it," Blackwell said quietly. Maya tore it open. The letter was in Mandarin, handwritten on expensive paper. She translated as she read. "Dear Miss Richardson, I hope this letter finds you well. I have followed your progress at Yale with great interest. Your research on multilingual processing is groundbreaking work. I wanted you to know that my offer from 4 years ago still stands. If you ever wish to pursue opportunities in China, my door remains open. With respect, Chen Wei-Lin." Maya looked up. "Mr. Chen wrote to me. Mr. Chen has been tracking your career since the night you saved my deal. As have I. As have several other people who were in that ballroom." Blackwell paused. "You've become quite valuable, Miss Richardson. More valuable than you know." "What does that mean?" "It means that people are watching. Governments, corporations, intelligence agencies. Everyone who was paying attention 4 years ago is still paying attention now." "Is that supposed to scare me?" "It's supposed to inform you." Blackwell sat down without being invited. "I came here to make you another offer." "I declined your offer once." "This is a different offer." He pulled out another document. "I'm starting a foundation, the Richardson Initiative for Global Communication. Full funding for researchers studying multilingual cognition and cross-cultural understanding. I want you to be on the board of directors." Maya stared at him. "You're naming a foundation after me." "You inspired it. It seems only fitting." Why now?" Blackwell was quiet for a long moment. "Because I'm dying, Miss Richardson." The words hit her like a physical blow. "What?" "Pancreatic cancer, stage 4. The doctors give me 18 months, maybe less." His voice was steady, matter-of-fact. "I've spent the past 6 months putting my affairs in order, deciding what I want my legacy to be." "And you want your legacy to be me?" "I want my legacy to be change. Real change. The kind that outlasts any one person." He met her eyes. 4 years ago, I threw champagne on a 17-year-old girl because I couldn't see past my own assumptions. I spent my entire career believing I could identify talent, and I almost destroyed the most talented person I'd ever met. "Mr. Blackwell, let me finish." His voice cracked slightly. "I've been wrong about a lot of things in my life. I've hurt people. I've underestimated people. I've dismissed people who deserved better. I can't undo any of that, but I can try to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else." Maya didn't know what to say. "The foundation will provide scholarships to young people from underrepresented backgrounds. It will fund research into communication and understanding. It will create programs that identify talent wherever it exists, not just where we expect to find it." That's incredible." "It's the least I can do." Blackwell stood slowly. "I'm not asking you to forgive me, Miss Richardson. I'm asking you to help me build something that matters." Maya looked at the document in her hands, at Mr. Chen's letter, at the man who had humiliated her and was now offering her a chance to change the world. "Can I think about it?" "Take all the time you need." He moved toward the door, then stopped. "One more thing." "Yes?" "The apology I made 4 years ago, the public one. It was sincere, but it wasn't complete." He turned to face her fully. "I am sorry, Maya. Not because you turned out to be valuable, not because you proved me wrong. I'm sorry because you deserved better. You deserved to walk into that ballroom and be seen as a person, not an obstacle. I failed you in that moment. I failed myself, and I've regretted it every day since." His eyes were wet, so were hers. "Thank you," she whispered. "That means more than you know." Blackwell nodded once and walked out. Maya stood in the silence of her living room, holding 2 letters that represented 2 possible futures. Her mother appeared beside her. "Are you okay?" "I don't know." Maya looked at the documents. "He's dying, and he wants me to be part of his legacy." "What do you want?" Maya thought about the question. Really thought about it. "I want to make a difference, a real difference. Not just for myself, but for everyone who comes after me." "Then maybe this is how." "Maybe." Amara pulled her daughter close. "Whatever you decide, I'm proud of you. We both are." "I know, Mom, I know." Maya joined the board of the Richardson Initiative in September of her sophomore year. The work was challenging in ways she hadn't anticipated. Fundraising, strategy meetings, endless conversations with donors who wanted to feel good about their contributions. It was nothing like the research she loved, nothing like the languages that had always been her refuge. But it mattered. In its first year, the initiative provided full scholarships to 47 students from backgrounds similar to Maya's. It funded research projects at universities around the world. It created mentorship programs that connected young people with professionals who looked like them, who had walked similar paths. Maya visited 3 of the scholarship recipients during winter break. A 16-year-old girl from South Chicago who spoke 5 languages and wanted to be a diplomat. A 14-year-old boy from rural Mississippi who was teaching himself Mandarin using YouTube videos. A 17-year-old refugee from Syria who had learned English in 6 months and was now tutoring others at her community center. Each one reminded Maya of herself. Each one made her believe that the work was worth doing. "You inspire me," the Syrian girl told her in perfect English. "I watched your speech outside the FBI building when I was in the refugee camp. I thought if she can do it, maybe I can too." Maya had to look away to hide her tears. "You can," she said. "You already are." Victor Blackwell died on March 15th of Maya's junior year. She got the call at 7:42 a.m. just before her first class. "Miss Richardson." Victoria Chen's voice was steady but heavy. "I'm sorry to inform you that Mr. Blackwell passed away last night." He went peacefully, surrounded by family. Maya sat down on a bench outside the lecture hall. "Thank you for telling me." "There's something else. He left specific instructions regarding you." "What kind of instructions?" "He wanted you to speak at his memorial service. He said you were the only person who could tell the truth about who he was and who he became." Maya closed her eye. "When is the service?" "Next Saturday. I'll send you the details." "I'll be there." She hung up and sat in silence for a long moment. The man who had thrown champagne on her 7 years ago wanted her to eulogize him. The irony was almost too much to bear. The memorial service was held at St. Patrick's Cathedral on March 22nd at 11 a.m. 2,000 people attended. CEOs, politicians, celebrities. The most powerful people in America gathered to mourn one of their own. Maya sat in the front row with Victoria Chen and the Blackwell family. Speaker after speaker praised Victor's business acumen, his vision, his leadership. They talked about deals and profits and market caps. They talked about the empire he had built. None of them talked about the man. When it was Maya's turn, she walked to the podium on legs that trembled. 2,000 faces stared up at her. She thought about running, about hiding, about retreating to the invisibility that had once been her only protection. Instead, she spoke. 7 years ago, Victor Blackwell threw a glass of champagne in my face. A murmur rippled through the cathedral. He told me I was nothing. He told me to stay invisible. He told me that girls like me didn't belong in rooms like his. The murmur grew louder. He was wrong. Maya's voice strengthened. But here's the thing about Victor Blackwell that most people don't know. When he realized he was wrong, he didn't make excuses. He didn't pretend it hadn't happened. He didn't try to buy his way out of accountability. She paused. He changed. Not because it was easy, not because it was comfortable, but because he understood that growth requires honesty, and honesty requires facing the worst parts of ourselves. Maya looked at the photograph of Blackwell that stood beside his casket. Victor Blackwell was not a perfect man. He made terrible mistakes. He hurt people. He underestimated people. He dismissed people who deserve better. But he was also a man who at the end of his life chose to build rather than destroy. He created a foundation that has already changed hundreds of lives. He funded research that will benefit millions. He used his final years to prove that it's never too late to become better than you were. Her voice broke. I didn't forgive Victor Blackwell because he apologized. I forgave him because he proved that his apology meant something. He proved it with actions, with money, with time, with the legacy he chose to leave behind. That's the Victor Blackwell I want to remember, not the man who threw champagne at a teenager, the man who spent his last years making sure no one would ever have to endure what I endured, the man who saw his worst moment and decided to make it his greatest motivation. Maya looked out at the crowd. We all make mistakes, we all hurt people, we all fail to see the humanity in those we consider different from ourselves. The question is not whether we'll fall short, the question is what we do after we fall. Victor Blackwell fell. And then he rose, and then he lifted others with him. That's the legacy I will carry forward, not his wealth, not his power, his transformation. Rest well, Victor. Your work is not finished, but you've given us the tools to complete it. She stepped down from the podium. The cathedral was absolutely silent. Then slowly someone began to clap, then another person, then another. Within seconds, 2,000 people were on their feet applauding Maya Richardson as she walked back to her seat. She didn't feel triumphant. She felt sad and grateful and determined all at once. Victor Blackwell had given her something precious, not money, not opportunity, something harder to define. He had given her proof that people could change, and that proof would fuel everything she did for the rest of her life. Maya graduated from Yale at the top of her class on May 19th. Her parents sat in the third row crying openly as she walked across the stage. She had completed dual degrees in linguistics and cognitive science. She had published 4 research papers. She had been accepted to MIT's graduate program with full funding, and she had been named the inaugural director of the Richardson Initiative for Global Communication. The ceremony ended at 4:37 p.m. Her family found her in the crowd outside the auditorium. We're so proud of you, baby girl. Her father's voice was thick with tears. So proud? Her mother echoed. Maya held them both as tightly as she could. 7 years ago, she had been a catering server with a dream and a pocket full of flashcards. Now she was Dr. Maya Richardson, Yale graduate, published researcher, director of a global foundation. And she was just getting started. That evening, Maya walked alone across the Yale campus for the last time. The sun was setting, painting everything gold. Students laughed and celebrated around her. The future stretched out ahead, vast and unknown and full of possibility. Her phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. Congratulations, Dr. Richardson. I always knew you'd make it. She smiled and typed back. Thanks, Marcus, for everything, for believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. His response was immediate. That's what friends are for. Now go change the world, superstar. Maya pocketed her phone and kept walking. She thought about everything that had brought her here. The languages she had learned. The barriers she had faced. The people who had tried to diminish her. The people who had lifted her up. She thought about her grandmother walking 12 miles to a school that didn't want her. She thought about her mother leaving everything behind for love. She thought about her father playing saxophone until his fingers bled. She thought about Victor Blackwell dying with regret and redemption in equal measure. And she thought about herself, the girl who had refused to be invisible, the woman she had become. At 9:17 p.m., Maya Richardson stopped walking. She stood alone in the center of the old campus, surrounded by buildings that had educated presidents and poets and revolutionaries. Tomorrow, she would start her new life. New city, new job, new challenges that she couldn't yet imagine. But tonight she was going to stand still, just for a moment, just long enough to remember where she had come from and appreciate how far she had traveled. Her phone rang. She looked at the caller ID, unknown number. She answered anyway. Miss Richardson, a voice she didn't recognize. This is Angela Torres, assistant to the Secretary of State. I'm calling to inform you that you've been nominated for the Presidential Medal of Freedom. The ceremony will be held at the White House next month. We hope you can attend. Maya's knees buckled. She sat down on the grass phone pressed to her ear, unable to speak. Miss Richardson, are you there? I'm here. Her voice was barely a whisper. I'm here. I'll be there. Thank you. Congratulations, Miss Richardson. The President looks forward to honoring your contributions to international understanding and communication. The line went dead. Maya sat in the darkness staring at her phone. The Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian honor in the United States. For a girl who had started out serving champagne and ended up serving humanity. She called her parents. Her mother answered on the first ring. Maya, is everything okay? Mom? She was crying now, tears streaming down her face. I just got a call from the White House. I've been nominated for the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Silence, then screaming. Her mother was screaming. Her father was screaming. She could hear them, through the phone, jumping and crying and celebrating in their Brooklyn kitchen. We're coming to the ceremony, her mother finally managed. Nothing in the world could keep us away. I know, Mom, I know. I love you, Maya. We love you so much. I love you too. She hung up and lay back on the grass, staring at the stars above. 7 years ago, Victor Blackwell had asked her a question. 9 languages, a girl like you now, she had an answer. Yes, a girl like me, a woman like me, a Richardson woman. And this was just the beginning. The Presidential Medal ceremony was held on June 15th at 2 p.m. Maya stood in the East Room of the White House surrounded by other honorees. Scientists, artists, activists, people who had dedicated their lives to making the world better. And her, the girl from Brooklyn, the catering server, the translator who had saved a $9 billion deal and started a revolution. The president stepped to the podium. Our next honoree represents the very best of what America can be. Maya's heart pounded. At 17 years old, Maya Richardson faced public humiliation and chose to respond with excellence. She demonstrated mastery of 9 languages in a single evening, saving an international business deal and inspiring millions of young people around the world. Her parents were crying in the front row. But Maya Richardson's story didn't end that night. It began. In the years since she has founded initiatives that have educated thousands of underrepresented students, she has conducted groundbreaking research on how the human brain processes language. She has become a symbol of what's possible when we refuse to accept the limitations others place on us. The president turned to face her. Maya Richardson proves that excellence knows no color, no class, no background. She proves that determination and dedication can overcome any obstacle. She proves that the American dream is still alive for those brave enough to chase it. He picked up the medal. For your extraordinary contributions to education research and international understanding, I am honored to present you with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Maya walked forward on legs that didn't feel real. The president placed the medal around her neck. Cameras flashed. Applause erupted. Her mother was sobbing openly. And Maya Richardson stood in the White House wearing the highest honor her country could bestow, thinking about a night 7 years ago when a billionaire had told her she was nothing. She wished Victor Blackwell could see this. Then she realized he could, wherever he was, whatever came after life. He could see that his transformation had meant something, that his legacy was alive in her, that the girl he had tried to diminish had become something extraordinary. After the ceremony, Maya found a quiet moment in the rose garden. Her medal hung heavy around her neck. Her heart was full to bursting. Everything she had ever worked for had led to this moment. Her father found her there at 4:12 p.m. Hey, superstar. Hey, Dad. He sat beside her on the bench. You know, when you were 5 years old, you told me you were going to be important someday. Maya laughed. I don't remember that. I do. You were sitting at the kitchen table with your flashcards teaching yourself Spanish from a children's book, and you looked up at me and said, Daddy, someday everybody's going to know my name. Her throat tightened. What did you say? I said, baby girl, I already know your name, and that's enough for me. The tears came before she could stop them. I meant it then, her father continued. I mean it now. This medal, these honors, all the fame and recognition, none of it matters as much as the person you are, the daughter I raised, the woman you've become. Dad, let me finish. His voice cracked. Your mother and I never had much. We couldn't give you fancy schools or expensive tutors or any of the things rich kids get. But we gave you something better. We gave you belief. We believed in you when nobody else did. We believed in you when you didn't believe in yourself. I know. And now the whole world believes too. He took her hand. But don't forget Maya. Don't ever forget that before the world saw you, we saw you. Before the president honored you, we honored you. Before anyone else knew your name was written in our hearts. Maya threw her arms around her father and held him as tightly as she had when she was 5 years old. "Thank you, Daddy, for everything, for the sacrifices, for the double shifts, for the saxophone fund and the language tapes and the unwavering faith." "That's what fathers do." "No," she said firmly, "that's what you do, not every father, you." They stayed like that for a long moment, father and daughter, past and future intertwined. Finally, Maya pulled back. "We should find Mom. She's probably wondering where we went." "She's inside, showing everyone pictures of you from kindergarten." Maya groaned. "Of course she is. That's what mothers do." They walked back toward the White House together, the president's medal glinting in the afternoon sun. At 4:37 p.m., Maya Richardson stepped into the East Room and found her mother surrounded by a crowd of admirers. "And this is Maya at her first language competition," Amara was saying, holding up her phone. "She was 11. She won first place in French, Spanish, and Mandarin. The judges didn't believe she was the same person." "Mom?" "Maya," Amara beamed. "I was just telling everyone about your childhood." "I noticed." The crowd laughed warmly. "You must be so proud," someone said. "We've always been proud," Amara replied. "Long before any of this, long before anyone else saw what we saw." Maya caught her mother's eye. No words were necessary. Everything that needed to be said had already been communicated across a lifetime of sacrifice and love and unshakable belief. The reception continued until 6 p.m. Maya shook hands with senators and scientists, artists, and activists. She accepted congratulations and business cards and invitations to speak at events around the world. But through it all, she kept thinking about what came next. The medal was beautiful. The recognition was meaningful. But it wasn't the end of anything. It was a beginning. At 6:17 p.m., Maya found a quiet corner and pulled out her phone. She opened a new document and began to type. Plans for the next phase of the Richardson Initiative. Expansion into 12 new countries. Partnership with the United Nations. A global network of language learners and teachers connected across borders, united by the belief that communication could heal divisions and build bridges. She typed until her fingers ached. She typed until her vision blurred. She typed until she heard her mother's voice calling her name. "Maya, the car is here." "Coming." She saved the document and slipped her phone into her pocket. The future could wait until tomorrow. Tonight was for celebrating. The Richardson family drove back to their hotel in comfortable silence. Maya sat in the back seat, her medal still around her neck, watching Washington, D.C. slide past the window. So much had changed in 7 years. So much had stayed the same. She was still the girl who loved languages. Still the daughter of a jazz musician and a linguistics professor. Still the person who carried flashcards everywhere, who practiced vocabulary while washing dishes, who believed that communication could change the world. But she was also something more now. She was proof that it was possible. Proof that a black girl from Brooklyn could speak 9 languages and save billion-dollar deals and meet presidents and win medals. Proof that invisibility was a choice, not a destiny. Proof that excellence could emerge from anywhere if only someone believed in it enough. The car pulled up to the hotel at 7:03 p.m. Maya's parents went inside to rest. She stayed on the sidewalk looking up at the sky. The stars were just beginning to appear. She thought about all the young people who had watched her speech 4 years ago. The ones who had seen her stand outside the FBI building and declare that she would not disappear. She wondered where they were now, what dreams they were chasing, what obstacles they were facing, what moments of doubt and fear they were battling through. She hoped they knew. She hoped they understood. The path was not easy. It was never easy. There would be champagne thrown and accusations made and doors slammed in faces. But the path was possible. It was always possible. You just had to keep walking. Maya Richardson pulled out her phone one last time. She opened Twitter and typed a message. To everyone who has ever been told they don't belong, you do. To everyone who has ever been underestimated, prove them wrong. To everyone who has ever felt invisible, be seen. Richardson women don't back down. Richardson women, rise up, and so can you. She posted it and put her phone away. The message went viral within hours. But Maya didn't see it. She was already asleep, dreaming of languages yet unlearned and bridges yet unbuilt, and a future bright enough to blind anyone who dared to look directly at it. She was Maya Richardson, speaker of 9 languages, Presidential Medal of Freedom recipient, director of a global initiative, daughter, researcher, leader, symbol. But more than any of that, she was proof. Proof that the girl who refused to be invisible could become impossible to ignore. And she was only getting started. Because Richardson women don't back down. Richardson women rise up. and Maya Richardson had risen so high that the whole world had no choice but to look up and see her shine.